Chapter 1600. Moon Illumination Sect. Han Xuan'ai and the others soon found out where Duan Lingtian had gone according to the clues he left behind. They immediately left Cloud Continent and returned to the Dao Martial Saint Land in a hurry. Their destination was the Moon Illumination Sect. At this moment, the people from the Moon Illumination Sect finally realized that something was amiss. They realized the few Saint Stage powerhouses, including the sect leader, had not shown up. When some of the inner court elders went to the Moon Illumination Sect's forbidden area, they realized the sect leader and the others were nowhere to be found. In the beginning they had intentionally concealed this matter. However, the truth could not be hidden forever. Soon after, the news of the disappearance of the sect leader and the few supreme elders spread throughout the Moon Illumination Sect, causing everyone in the sect to feel threatened. As the news spread, the other 8 great sects were eager to make a move as well. Whether it was the sects that were at odds with the Moon Illumination Sect or the sects that had a good relationship with the Moon Illumination Sect, all of them coveted the various cultivation resources in the Moon Illumination Sect when they found out that the Moon Illumination Sect had lost its Saint Stage powerhouse. At once, the Moon Illumination Sect fell apart and shattered. In order to protect themselves, the few vice-sect leaders of the Moon Illumination Sect fled with a large amount of resources in the sect. The elders, deacons, and disciples of the Moon Illumination Sect were also in danger. At once, the Moon Illumination Sect only existed in name. When Han Xuan'ai and the others arrived at the Moon Illumination Sect, they discovered the sect had already declined. Although they learned about Duan Lingtian from a few Moon Illumination Sect's disciples, the people from the Moon Illumination Sect only knew what happened before Duan Lingtian left. They only knew that Duan Lingtian had left. As for other matters, even the Moon Illumination Sect's disciples knew nothing about it. Due to this reason, the clues were cut off again. "Brother Lingtian, where are you?" Han Xuan'ai had a worried expression on her face. She learned from the Moon Illumination Sect's disciples that Duan Lingtian's situation was not optimistic when he left. With the clues gone, Han Xuan'ai had no choice but to return to the Greenwave Han Mansion. However, the moment she returned to the Greenwave Han Mansion, she learned from Qing Nu that Li Fei had been taken away. Horror dawned on her face immediately. "Qing Nu, what's going on?" "Miss, the person who took Li Fei away should be your brother Lingtian's father's men." Qing Nu said, "That was the message he left that day." "Brother Lingtian's father?" When Han Xuan'ai heard this, she heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time she asked, "Did the person who took Sister Fei leave behind any other clues?" "No." Qing Nu shook her head. At the same time she hesitated to speak. "Is there anything else?" Han Xuan'ai, who had grown up with Qing Nu, naturally understood Qing Nu very well. When she saw Qing Nu's expression, she immediately understood Qing Nu's thoughts. Qing Nu sighed. At the same time, she told her everything that had happened before Li Fei left. Han Jinyan was plotting something against Li Fei. At the critical moment, that powerhouse arrived and killed Han Jinyan before taking Li Fei away, Qing Nu said. "That's right. Han Jinyan." When Han Xuan'ai found out that Han Jinyan was plotting something against Li Fei, her expression turned extremely grave. Her beautiful eyes were filled with killing intent. It was as though she would kill Han Jinyan as soon as he stood in front of her. The 3 little fellows, Little Gold, Little Black, and Little White, had bloodshot eyes. They were completely enraged. "Miss, he's already dead." When Qing Nu sensed the killing intent emitting from Han Xuan'ai's body, she reminded her. "It's good that he's dead." Little Black growled. Little Gold and Little White nodded with a pleased expression on their faces. "It's fine if you say these words here. If Elder Han Xan hears this, I'm afraid he won't let this matter rest." Qing Nu sighed. "So what if Elder Xan hears this?" Han Xuan'ai snorted coldly. "Han Jinyan is in the wrong in this matter. It's a good thing he didn't succeed. Otherwise, how am I supposed to face Sister Fei and Brother Lingtian? If Han Jinyan was still alive, I would have killed him at all costs even if it would infuriate Elder Xan. No matter what, Han Jinyan was already dead." Due to this reason, Han Xuan'ai's anger had mostly dissipated. The most important thing now is to find out who took Sister Fei away that day. That powerhouse must be quite powerful to be able to take someone away from our Greenwave Han Mansion without anyone noticing. It seems like Brother Lingtian's father is not an ordinary person even in the Dao Martial Saint Land. Although the person who took Li Fei away had told her his background, Han Xuan'ai was still worried. She was eager to find out where Li Fei had gone. However, it would never cross her mind that Li Fei had gone to the Azure Cloud Mansion. The Azure Cloud Mansion was a quasi-third-rate force in the Debussy subterranean. It did not have much interaction with a fifth-rate force like the Greenwave Han Mansion. Due to this reason, even if Han Xuan'ai mobilized the Greenwave Han Mansion's forces to search for Li Fei's whereabouts, she would still find nothing in the end. Meanwhile, in the faraway Azure Cloud Mansion, after Duan Ruffing brought Li Fei back, Li Ro was overjoyed. When she saw the child in Li Fei's arms, she was so excited that she could not stop smiling for the entire day. I have a grandson. I have a grandson. After being excited for the entire day, she finally regained her senses and asked Li Fei, where's Kerr? Before I left the Cloud Continent, I heard from Tian'er that you're with Kerr. Upon hearing Li Ro's words, Li Fei fell silent. Her beautiful eyes flashed with lightning. What's wrong? Li Ro's heart skipped a beat. She had a bad feeling about this. Aunt Ro? The moment Li Fei opened her mouth, she was interrupted by Li Ro with a displeased expression. You even gave birth to a grandson for me, and you're still calling me Aunt Ro? Mother. After calling Li Ro, Li Fei could no longer hold back the tears in her eyes as they rolled down her cheeks. Subsequently, Li Ro also learned about everything from Li Fei. Naturally, most of the things she said were conveyed to her by Duan Ruffing. This included Duan Lingtian's disappearance and Kerr being taken away by a woman who claimed to be her twin sister. After listening to everything, Li Ro's body swayed and her face turned pale. Does your father know about all of this? Yes. Li Fei nodded. Upon hearing this, Li Ro immediately handed the child in her arms back to Li Fei and went to look for Duan Ruffing. Ro, you know about it? When Duan Ruffing saw Li Ro coming to look for him with a pale face, he immediately guessed something. At the same time he sighed inwardly. I know what you want to say. Tian, I've already sent someone to look for him. As for Kerr, since she was taken away by the people from Zoroastrianism, there's nothing I can do. She can only depend on her own fortune. When Duan Ruffing reached the end of his sentence, he had a helpless expression on his face. Depend on her own fortune? Chapter 1601. There's still my daughter-in-law and my grandson. If it's possible, how could I possibly watch something happen to them? Duan Ruffing said bitterly, I've told you about the upper province of the Dao Martial Saint Land before, and you've also heard about how powerful the forces in the upper province are. Our Azure Cloud Mansion can be considered as one of the top forces in the Wuxia subterranean, but we're nothing in the upper province. Zoroastrianism is one of the three great sects in the Dao Martial Saint Land. It's an extremely ancient and powerful force. Before the Dao Martial Saint Land was divided into two, it was already the top force in the Dao Martial Saint Land. Now that it has been passed down for so many years, its strength must have increased instead of decreasing. When Duan Ruffing reached the end of his sentence, he felt helpless as well. In the Wuxia subterranean, whether it was his own strength or the Azure Cloud Mansion's strength, although they did not dare to say they were the strongest, they were not afraid of anyone or any force. However, this was only in the lower province. In the upper province, there were as many powerhouses as there were clouds, and powerful forces were as numerous as a carp crossing a river. Whether it was him or the Azure Cloud Mansion, although they were not at the bottom in the upper province, they could only be considered as below average. This was because there were too many ancient and powerful forces in the upper province. Although they were not as powerful as the three great sects including the Zoroastrianism, they were still extremely powerful. Zoroastrianism, a top force in the upper province of the Dao Martial Saint Land? Upon hearing Duan Ruffing's words, Li Ro, whose face was ghastly pale, turned limp and collapsed. Fortunately, Duan Ruffing moved quickly and caught Li Ro in time. He could understand his wife's feelings. In the past he had heard his wife talking about his daughter-in-law Kerr more than once. He knew that in his wife's heart, Kerr's position was not inferior to their son. Brother Feng, do you think something will happen to Kerr and the child in her stomach? Li Ro asked with reddened eyes. I won't. Don't worry. Duan Ruffing comforted him. The person who took Kerr away claimed to be Kerr's twin sister. She also seemed to have a good attitude towards Kerr, so she probably wouldn't hurt her. Of course, although Duan Ruffing said so, he was thinking something else in his heart. Perhaps Kerr's sister wouldn't do anything to Kerr, but she might not leave the child in Kerr's belly. In addition, even if Kerr had the protection of her sister, she might not be able to withstand the storm of Zoroastrianism. It was not a small matter for the saintess of Zoroastrianism to lose her chastity outside. Duan Ruffing did not have a deep understanding of Zoroastrianism. However, as far as he knew, in the Dao Martial Saint Land, the saintesses of the three great sects, including Zoroastrianism, were required to be virgins. This was because only then would they be qualified to represent their respective sections. Not only had Kerr been with his son, but she was also pregnant with his son's child. If Zoroastrianism found out about this, Kerr would definitely not have a good ending. Naturally, he did not tell his wife Li Ro about this because he knew if he did, his wife Li Ro would be even more worried about Kerr's safety. This was not something he wanted to see. Moreover, although Duan Ruffing had told Li Ro that he would send someone to look for Duan Ling Tian, he was not very enthusiastic about this matter. All of this was, naturally, due to the Oracle Man's instructions. According to the Oracle Man, even if their family wanted to be reunited, it would be best if his son took the initiative to look for him instead of his people looking for his son. It's not that I'm heartless, but this is also a form of training for you. I believe the Oracle Man wouldn't do something without thinking. He must have asked me to do this for your own good. Although Duan Ruffing missed his son, Duan Ling Tian, very much, he did not want to lose his son. However, when he thought about how this matter would affect his son's future, he made up his mind. Will my son really be able to defeat the five-clawed golden dragon Diju in 5 years? Duan Ruffing suddenly remembered the battle he had arranged for Duan Ling Tian according to the Oracle Man's instructions. The winner of the battle would obtain the opportunity to enter the dragon cleansing pool. If it were him, although he was confident in his son, he did not think his son would be able to defeat Diju in 5 years. However, this was the decision made by the Oracle Man due to his trust in the Oracle Man. He forced himself to believe his son would be able to defeat him in 5 years. If I bring Tian'er back now and let him cultivate in the Azure Cloud Mansion, he'll most likely not be a match for Diju in 5 years. But if we let him stay outside, there are too many possibilities. It was precisely because of this that Duan Ruffing was so cooperative with the Oracle Man currently. Duan Ling Tian was, naturally, unaware of his father's thoughts. Duan Ruffing. Ever since he returned to the Situ clan in the capital, he had been having a headache. This was because as his reputation spread out, more and more people came to visit the Situ clan, hoping to meet him. Initially, in order to give face to the clan leader of Situ clan, Situ Hao, he met many people. However, in the end he became annoyed and told Situ Hao that he was going into closed-door cultivation. Then, he squeezed himself into his room and entered the 3rd level of the 7 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda to cultivate. No matter how turbulent the outside world was, he remained in the 7 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda and cultivated quietly. He was not affected at all. Naturally, before he went into closed-door cultivation, he had also informed Situ Hang, the great young master of Situ clan, that if his senior brother came after hearing the news, he could immediately knock on his door and wake him up. Apart from that, he would not even meet the Windfall Nation's emperor if he came personally. Naturally, this was just a casual remark made by Duan Ling Tian. Although he had defeated Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect and replaced her as the strongest person among the younger generation in Windfall Nation. However, his current strength was not enough for the Windfall Nation's emperor to personally visit him. In Windfall Nation, as the news of the battle between Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tianwu spread out, it was completely stirred up. Lady Feng, who was known as the strongest person among the younger generation in Windfall Nation, was actually defeated by another young man and was even replaced. Not only did she lose her ranking in the Heaven ranking, but she had also lost her title as the strongest person among the younger generation in Windfall Nation. That young man was called Duan Ling Tian, and he was also the interim advisor of Situ clan in the capital. I can't believe that in just a few years, there would be 2 monstrous geniuses among the younger generation in our Windfall Nation. With their innate talent and strength, I'm afraid they'll be ranked first among the younger generation in the entire Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion. Looks like our Windfall Nation's feng shui is pretty good. First, there's Lady Feng and now there's Master Duan. Both of them are outstanding people among the younger generation below the age of 40. Chapter 1602. The Dark Nether sect was a 7th-rate sect in Windfall Nation. Naturally, it could only be considered as a 7th-rate sect in Windfall Nation. Among all the 7th-rate forces in Windfall Nation, it was ranked at the bottom. There were only 2 Saint-stage powerhouses in the Dark Nether sect. This sect was made up of more than 80% Devil cultivators. Devil cultivators could be found everywhere in this sect, and it was rare to find a non-demon cultivator. The Dark Nether sect's estate was located in a mountain range. There was a vast valley in the middle. The 7th-grade Saint Stone vein that the Dark Nether sect controlled was located in this valley. Usually, many people would come here to mine for Saint Stones. As a Devil Dao sect, the Dark Nether sect was, naturally, different from ordinary sects in terms of manpower. Ordinary sects would send their disciples to the Saint Stone vein in batches to mine for Saint Stones. However, the Dark Nether sect would simply capture laborers and let them mine for Saint Stones here. Due to this reason, the Dark Nether sect's Saint Stone mining had always been very smooth. Their speed was very fast as well. It seemed like they were catching up with most of the 7th-rate forces. Although the Dark Nether sect's overall strength was not strong, their Saint Stone storage was one of the best among all the 7th-rate forces in Windfall Nation. In the vast valley in the middle of the Dark Nether sect's estate, a group of laborers was still busy working even though the sun was blazing high up in the sky. Each of them had a tired expression on their faces, but they did not dare to stop what they were doing. Crack. As soon as one of the middle-aged laborers stopped what he was doing, he was whipped by a Dark Nether sect's disciple who was watching them. The whip landed on the middle-aged laborer's back, leaving a burning scar on his back. Blood continued to seep out of the wound. The middle-aged laborers had stopped to rest because he was too tired. When he was whipped, he instantly fell to the ground. He no longer had the strength to get up. "My lord, I can't move anymore." The middle-aged laborers endured the pain as he struggled to speak to the Dark Nether sect's disciple who was holding the whip. However, as soon as his words left his mouth, a sharp sword appeared in the Dark Nether sect's disciple's hand. The moment the sword appeared, the middle-aged man's expression changed drastically. A hint of panic could be seen in his eyes as the sword pierced through his chest, killing him instantly. After killing him, the Dark Nether sect's disciple raised his hand and lifted the middle-aged laborer's body. Then he looked at the wound on the middle-aged laborer's chest and began to swallow the blood that flowed out of the middle-aged laborer's body. As he swallowed the blood Nether sect's disciple's blood-red mist, it was obvious that he was cultivating in an unusual way. This was the cultivation method of the Nether sect. Of course, not all devil cultivators relied on human blood to cultivate. This was only a small branch of the devil cultivation method. Seeing this scene, many of the laborers in the surroundings quivered. They hurriedly propped up their tired bodies and continued to work. They did not want to follow in the footsteps of this middle-aged man. In the Dark Nether sect, their lives as servants were, without a doubt, worthless. This is a demonic cultivator? As Nether sects, although these people's robes were made of precious cloth, they seemed to be covered in a layer of dust, making them look like they were covered in dirt. If Duan Ling Tian was here, he would be able to recognize these dusty people as Feng Wudao, Sima Changfeng, and the others. Apart from Bai Li Hong, Feng Wudao and the others were here. However, they were currently the Dark Nether sect's disciples. Fortunately, we have Elder Bai Li's protection. Otherwise, I would have been killed yesterday. Nangongyi smiled wryly. Yesterday, because he was too tired, he slacked off and rested for a while and was whipped a few times. At that time, he could not even stand up. However, the Dark Nether sect's disciple did not kill him. He guessed that Bai Li Hong must have had something to do with him receiving such treatment. I wonder how Elder Bai Li is doing now. The Dark Nether sect's disciple was not polite to Elder Bai Li at all. When they found out where Elder Bai Li's weakness, they even used us to threaten Elder Bai Li to inscribe saint inscriptions for them. Qin Xiao Shui said worriedly. Based on the current situation, Elder Bai Li should be fine. Otherwise, the Dark Nether sect's disciple wouldn't have been so polite to Nangongyi yesterday. Xiong Quan said. Speaking of which, we're really unlucky to have encountered the Dark Nether sect's disciples. Moreover, if it weren't for us, Elder Bai Li wouldn't have allowed himself to be captured that day. When Gold Thug reached the end of his sentence, a guilty expression could be seen on his face. That's right. With Elder Bai Li's strength, even if he couldn't bring us along, it shouldn't be a problem for him to leave on his own. Sima Changfeng nodded in agreement. As it turned out, after Bai Li Hong brought Feng Wudao and the others away from the Moon Illumination sect, they had indeed come to Windfall Nation just as Duan Ling Tian had speculated. Their destination was the capital of Windfall Nation. However, their luck was not good. Not long after they arrived in Windfall Nation, they encountered the Dark Nether sect's disciples who were trying to capture them. The leader was one of the vice sect leaders of Dark Nether sect. He was also one of the top 5 imminent saint stage powerhouses in the Dark Nether sect. In front of this powerhouse, Bai Li Hong had the chance to escape on his own. However, since he was alone, it was almost impossible for him to bring Feng Wudao and the others away. Since Bai Li Hong did not escape on his own, the group of them was captured by the Dark Nether sect's disciples. Initially, Bai Li Hong had revealed that he was a 3-star saint inscription master because he wanted the Dark Nether sect to treat Feng Wudao and the others well on account of his value as a 3-star saint inscription master. He did not want them to be forced to do manual labor. However, as a Devil Dao sect, the Dark Nether sect did not fall for Bai Li Hong's trick. Not only did they force Feng Wu Dao and the others to do manual labor, but they even used their lives to threaten Bai Li Hong to serve the Dark Nether sect. If Bai Li Hong dared to disobey, they would kill Feng Wu Dao and the others. In Bai Li Hong's opinion, Feng Wu Dao and the others were entrusted to him by his junior brother, Duan Lingtian. If anything happened to any of them, he would not be able to answer to Duan Lingtian. For this reason, he could only cooperate with the Dark Nether sect and did not dare to act recklessly. However, he did state a condition. Feng Wu Dao and the others' lives must not be in danger. Otherwise, even if he died, he would not inscribe saint inscriptions for the Dark Nether sect. The Dark Nether sect knew this was Bai Li Hong's bottom line, so they agreed to his request. It was precisely because of Rong Chui that Feng Wu Dao and the others' lives were not in danger for the time being. Hey, have you heard? Our Windfall Nation has another outstanding young genius. I think his name is Duan Lingtian. He's the interim advisor of the Situ clan in the capital. Chapter 1603. The two Dark Nether sect's disciples were in charge of monitoring the laborers who were excavating the Saint Stone Reserve. They chatted casually as though no one was around. However, when their idle chatter entered into the ears of Feng Wu Dao and the others, it caused Feng Wu Dao and the others to be stunned. Duan Lingtian? Young genius? Interim advisor of Situ clan? Feng Wu Dao and the others looked at each other and communicated through voice transmission. Do all of you think it's that brat Lingtian? Feng Wu Dao was the first to ask. It's possible. Sima Chang Feng nodded. It should be young master. However, how did young master become the interim advisor of Situ clan? Xiong Quan was confused. Perhaps it's just someone with the same name, Qin Shaoshuai said. He was not as optimistic as Feng Wu Dao. After all, although Duan Lingtian's innate talent and strength were beyond his reach, he was still far from being qualified to become the interim advisor of Situ clan in the capital. The Situ clan in the capital was a force that was even more powerful than the Dark Nether sect they were currently in. It was a powerful seventh-rate clan. It was not easy to become the interim advisor of the Situ clan. Indeed, it's just someone with the same name. Nangongyi nodded. He was as calm as Qin Shaoshuai. Young genius Duan Lingtian. Perhaps it's the same person. It was rare for Nangong Qin to speak. What are all of you doing? Are you trying to slack off? While Feng Wu Dao and the others were daydreaming, one of the two Dark Nether sect's disciples who passed by shouted angrily. With a raise of his hand, the whip in his hand landed on Qin Shaoshuai's face. Slap. In just an instant, a purplish-black scar appeared on Qin Shaoshuai's face. Blood was still flowing out of it. The sudden whip also caused Qin Shaoshuai to stagger and almost fall to the ground. The intense pain caused him to grunt. When he regained his senses, he glared at the Dark Nether sect's disciple who had whipped him. When had he ever been humiliated like this since he came to the Dao Martial Saint land from the mortal continent? What? You still want to fight me? When the Dark Nether sect's disciple saw the anger in Qin Shaoshuai's eyes, he smiled. He raised the whip in his hand again, wanting to whip Qin Shaoshuai again. Qin Shaoshuai's face darkened and he wanted to fight back. At this moment he no longer cared whether he was a match for the other party. He might not be as strong as the other party, but that didn't mean that he didn't have dignity. However, before Qin Shaoshuai could make his move, Feng Wu Dao and the others stood in front of Qin Shaoshuai. All of them stared coldly at the Dark Nether sect's disciple who had raised the whip. What? Do you all want to die? This was the first time this Dark Nether sect's disciple had seen a slave acting so arrogantly. Killing intent instantly flashed in his eyes. He wanted to kill Feng Wu Dao and the others. They have a close relationship with the new 3-star Saint Inscription Master in the sect. Vice Sect Leader Tan personally ordered that they can work, but they are not allowed to cripple or kill them. Another Dark Nether sect's disciple stopped his companion and reminded him through voice transmission. Are they the ones who were captured together with that 3-star Saint Inscription Master? The latter could not help but frown when he heard this. He had also heard that among the new slaves, there were a few who could not be touched. At most he could only teach them a lesson. If they were crippled or even killed, the ones who would have to bear the consequences would be him, the one who would have to bear the consequences. However, it did not cross his mind that the slaves who could not be touched were the ones who were rude to him. Although he could still teach the people in front of him a lesson, it was obvious that they were going to fight him to the death based on their attitude. He instantly dismissed the idea of teaching them a lesson. If these people were to risk their lives against him, he might accidentally be ruthless and cause them to suffer a great loss. He did not care about these people's lives. However, he had no choice but to obey the vice sect leader's order. He shuddered when he thought about the consequences of disobeying the vice sect leader's order. He did not dare to try it himself. Humph! The Dark Nether sect's disciple snorted coldly and put down the whip. He glanced at Qin Shao Shui with killing intent before he left with his companion. Meanwhile, the group of slaves nearby had an envious expression on their faces when they looked at Feng Wudao and the others. Although Feng Wudao and the others were also slaves, their treatment was much better than theirs. At the very least they would not lose their lives here. However, they did not know why the Dark Nether sect's disciple did not kill them. When Feng Wudao and the others saw the two Dark Nether sect's disciples leaving, they began to discuss among themselves again. It doesn't matter if that person is Duan Ling Tian or not. We have to confirm it. If he is, with the Situ clan's influence, it won't be difficult for us to escape. I really don't want to stay in this godforsaken place any longer, Nangongyi said. Although they were spared because of Bai Li Hong, they did not want to die. However, the humiliation they suffered here was unbearable. Nangongyi's suggestion was also approved by the others. For now, the biggest problem is we can't contact the Duan Ling Tian from the Situ clan in the capital. We're now slaves of the Dark Nether sect. It's impossible for us to leave this place. Sima Changfeng said. That's a problem. Gold Thug nodded. Even if Master is really in the Situ clan, he doesn't know we're here. We still can't escape. All of you seem to have overlooked a problem. At this moment, Feng Wudao spoke. His eyes shone with a wise gleam as though he had seen through everything. And his words had successfully attracted the gazes of Sima Changfeng and the others. Under the watchful eyes of the others, Feng Wudao said, Let's not talk about whether that Duan Ling Tian from the Situ clan in the capital is the Ling Tian brat we know. Since his name has spread all the way here, I'm sure Elder Bai Li must have heard about it as well. With Elder Bai Li's wisdom, it's only natural that he'll think of a way to confirm if that Duan Ling Tian from the Situ clan is the Ling Tian brat we know. If he's the Ling Tian brat, it doesn't matter how he became the interim advisor of the Situ clan. As long as he can get the Situ clan to help him, it won't be difficult for him to rescue us and Elder Bai Li. Feng Wudao finished his sentence in one breath. The moment Feng Wudao's words left his mouth, the eyes of Sima Changfeng and the others lit up immediately. Why didn't I think of this? Nangongyi smiled wryly. As the saying goes, too much concern leads to confusion. I've just thought of this problem as well. Now that we've heard about the interim advisor of Situ clan, Duan Ling Tian, I'm sure Elder Bai Li has heard about it as well. Feng Wudao added. Just as Feng Wudao had said, Bai Li Hong had indeed heard about the interim advisor of Situ clan, Duan Ling Tian. As a 3-star saint inscription master, although he was imprisoned by the Dark Nether sect, his life was much better than Feng Wudao and the others. Naturally, with his strength, he would not be able to escape unless there was a saint stage powerhouse watching him. Chapter 1604. There were only 2 saint stage powerhouses in the entire Dark Nether sect. Naturally, it was impossible for them to keep an eye on Bai Li Hong. The reason Bai Li Hong did not leave was because of Feng Wudao and the others. He had been thinking of ways to save them and leave the Dark Nether sect. However, he could not find a chance to do so. This was because he realized the vice sect leader of Dark Nether sect who had brought him back seemed to have guessed his plan. He would take the initiative to keep an eye on him. Even if the vice sect leader of Dark Nether sect did not keep an eye on him, it would still be difficult for him to save Feng Wudao and the others. This was because there was also an imminent saint stage powerhouse guarding the place where the slaves were imprisoned. If he approached, the imminent saint stage powerhouse would notice him immediately. He could escape by himself, but it was not realistic for him to bring Feng Wudao and the others along. After all, there were 7 of them. Duan Ling Tian? The interim advisor of Situ clan? When Bai Li Hong heard the name of the Situ clan's interim advisor, Master Duan, who had recently become famous in Windfall Nation, his heart skipped a beat. He was pleasantly surprised. It's junior brother? He came to Windfall Nation? When Bai Li Hong found out the interim advisor of Situ clan was also called Duan Ling Tian, he was almost certain Duan Ling Tian was his junior brother. This was because he had told his junior brother that he would come to Windfall Nation if he had the chance in the future. And he had indeed come. Not only had he come, he had also brought along Feng Wudao and the others. Unfortunately, the people from the Dark Nether sect had suddenly appeared and captured them. They were forced to stay in the Dark Nether sect. However, how did junior brother become the interim advisor of Situ clan? The Situ clan is a famous clan in Windfall Nation. Although it's also a 7th-rate force like the Dark Nether sect, It's undoubtedly much more powerful. The Dark Nether sect only has 2 Saint Stage Devil cultivators. Before Bai Li Hong came to Windfall Nation, he had heard of the Situ clan in Windfall Nation. As for the Dark Nether sect, he had never heard of it before. Based on this alone, one could tell the Dark Nether sect was far inferior to the Situ clan. However, it was such a powerful 7th-rate clan that his junior brother had actually become a guest elder of their clan? Junior brother really knows how to give people surprises. The reason he was certain that the interim advisor of Situ clan, Duan Lingtian, was his junior brother was not only because he had mentioned to his junior brother that he wanted to come to Windfall Nation if he had the chance, but more so because of the age of the interim advisor of Situ clan. That foreign elder of the Situ clan was not even 40 years old. And his junior brother was not even 40 years old. Junior brother's improvement is really ridiculous. Even Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect was defeated by him. Bai Li Hong sighed. He had never heard of Lady Feng when he was in the Moon Illumination sect in the 9-sect alliances district. However, after coming to Windfall Nation, these 3 words reverberated like thunder in his ears. It was because these 3 words symbolized the number 1 person in the younger generation in Windfall Nation. The strongest person among the younger generation in Windfall Nation was actually a young woman. Bai Li Hong was shocked for a long time when he found out about this. It wasn't that he looked down on women. Instead, it was because women were born weaker than men in many aspects and did not have any innate advantages. For a woman to be able to achieve such an achievement, her innate talent must be shockingly high. At that time he had wondered if Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect or his junior brother, Duan Lingtian, had a higher innate talent. Now the truth had given him the answer. The interim advisor of Situ clan, Duan Lingtian, had defeated Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect outside Drift Blaze sect and replaced her as the 23rd powerhouse at the peak of the Saint Rudiment stage in the Heaven ranking. Since junior brother is in Situ clan, and he's even the interim advisor, I don't think Situ clan will reject him if he asks for help. The moment Bai Li Hong thought of this, he sighed in relief. There's hope for them now. When Bai Li Hong muttered to himself, he was, naturally, referring to Feng Wudao and the others. Previously he could not see any hope. However, he saw a ray of hope now. The ray of hope came from his junior brother, Duan Lingtian, who was also the interim advisor of Situ clan. The most important thing now is to find an excuse to go to the capital. Then I'll think of a way to contact junior brother. Soon after, Bai Li Hong thought to himself, although I can leave without anyone noticing, the vice sect leader of Dark Nether sect will definitely fly into a rage and vent his anger on them. At that time, even if I bring reinforcements, I'm not sure if they're still alive. Something happens to them, what's the point of me bringing reinforcements? Bai Li Hong knew he had to find an excuse to let the Dark Nether sect allow him to go to the capital of Windfall Nation openly. That's it. Soon after, Bai Li Hong thought of an idea. He immediately went to look for the vice sect leader of Dark Nether sect who had captured him, Feng Wudao and the others. He did not beat around the bush and said, Vice sect leader Tan, I want to go to the capital of Windfall Nation to buy some saint inscription materials. Buy saint inscription materials? Upon hearing Bai Li Hong's words, vice sect leader Tan of Dark Nether sect, a slightly muscular old man who was dressed in a long black robe, frowned. What materials do you need? Tell me and I'll help you look for them in the sect's storehouse. If they're not in the storehouse, I can ask someone to buy them outside. Vice sect leader Tan, I'm not sure what kind of materials I need, so I'll have to go there personally. When Bai Li Hong reached this part of his sentence, he noticed vice sect leader Tan's expression darkened. It was as though he was about to reject him. Bai Li Hong instantly beat him to it and said, the materials I need are all for 4-star saint inscriptions. I feel like I'm close to becoming a 4-star saint inscription master. As long as there are materials for me to study, I'm confident I'll be able to become a 4-star saint inscription master in a short time. 4-star saint inscription master. One had to admit that Bai Li Hong's words were very useful and tempting. At the very least, it caused vice sect leader Tan's eyes to light up with joy. There were no 4-star saint inscription masters in the Dark Nether sect at all. There were only 2 3-star saint inscription masters, including Bai Li Hong. If there's a 4-star saint inscription master in our Dark Nether sect. The moment Tan Chi, the vice sect leader of Yin sect, thought of this, his heart was filled with excitement. His gaze when he looked at Bai Li Hong had become much friendlier. When do you plan to depart? I'll go with you. Tomorrow. Bai Li Hong was not surprised that Tan Chi wanted to follow him to the capital of Windfall Nation. Perhaps he would be surprised if Tan Chi did not follow him. Junior brother will be reunited very soon. After Tan Qi agreed to it, Bai Li Hong was inexplicably excited. Chapter 1605. Naturally, Duan Lingtian was unaware of what was happening outside. Currently, he was cultivating on the third level of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. The flow of time in the third level of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda was slow. 5 days inside was only 1 day outside. For this reason, Duan Lingtian had plenty of time to cultivate. At the very least, he was more efficient than anyone else in the Dao Martial Saint land. After stabilizing his cultivation base at the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage, Duan Lingtian began to break through to the peak of the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage. This was because he would only be able to break through to the Imminent Saint stage and the Saint stage after entering the peak of the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage. Although his current strength was almost invincible among those below the Saint stage, his cultivation base was still close to the peak of the Saint stage. However, his cultivation base was only close to the peak of the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage. He had not truly entered the peak of the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage. With the strength I've displayed so far, if my cultivation base breaks through to the Imminent Saint stage, the true energy in my Qi will also be abundant to a certain extent. At that time, I should be able to fight against the weakest Saint stage powerhouse if I use all my techniques, right? Apart from cultivating, Duan Lingtian was also looking forward to the future. Naturally, although he was looking forward to it, he was not certain. After all, he had witnessed the strength of a Saint stage powerhouse. It was not something a Saint Rudiment stage powerhouse could compare to. It would be a brand new transformation. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door. Huo Lao immediately heard the sound and promptly informed Duan Lingtian. You have news about senior brother and the others? Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up immediately. He had told Situ Hang, the great young master of Situ clan, not to disturb his cultivation unless there was news about his senior brother. Now that someone knocked on the door, it was obvious there was news about his senior brother. After leaving the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda and opening the door, Duan Lingtian immediately saw Situ Hang standing outside. Young Master Hang, you have news about my senior brother? Yes. Situ Hang nodded. Where's my senior brother? Duan Lingtian asked anxiously. Master Duan, speaking of which, it's actually not our people who found senior brother Ling. It was senior brother Ling who took the initiative to look for us. However, senior brother Ling seems to have encountered some trouble. He only asked someone to send a voice transmission jade token to our Situ clan. Situ Hang said. The voice transmission jade token was a jade token that was inscribed with the voice transmission saint inscription in the Dao Martial Saint land. It was similar to the voice transmission jade slip on Cloud Continent that could store sound. Of course, voice transmission jade slips could store more sounds than voice transmission jade slips, and they were not easily damaged. It was just like the voice transmission jade slip that Duan Ruffing had left for Duan Lingtian. The voice transmission jade slip that had been hidden in the exquisite jade box had been damaged. If it had been replaced with a voice transmission jade slip, it would not have been damaged so easily. Due to the destruction of the voice transmission jade slip, Duan Lingtian was unable to meet up with Kumi in time. Otherwise, he would have been living the life of a young mansion master in the Azure Cloud Mansion. Huh. Upon hearing Situ Hang's words, Duan Lingtian frowned. Then, does this mean you're not certain he's my senior brother as well? The person who sent the voice transmission jade slip said Bai Li Hong asked him to send the jade slip. I don't think I'm mistaken, right? Situ Hang said. If that's the case, I don't think I'm mistaken. Duan Lingtian nodded. After taking the voice transmission jade slip from Situ Hang, Duan Lingtian mobilized his true energy and inserted it into the jade slip. The method of activating the voice transmission jade slip was the same as the method of activating the voice transmission jade slip. Soon after, a familiar voice resonated in Duan Lingtian's ears. Junior brother, when I heard a young interim advisor, Duan Lingtian, has recently appeared in the Situ clan, I was certain it was you. Only you're capable of defeating the strongest person among the younger generation in Windfall Nation, Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect. Currently you're famous in Windfall Nation. I think you must have done this on purpose to let us know about your existence. It seems like you've also guessed I've come to Windfall Nation. Upon hearing this, Duan Lingtian felt excited. He could tell this was his senior brother Bai Li Hong's voice. It was definitely not fake. Actually, when you escaped from the Moon Illumination sect, the others and I almost encountered a calamity as well. Fortunately, the few Saint Stage powerhouses in the Moon Illumination sect had their attention on you. Otherwise, I'm afraid we wouldn't have been able to escape from the Moon Illumination sect. After leaving the Moon Illumination sect, I brought them to Windfall Nation. Initially, we planned to go to the capital of Windfall Nation since it's the most prosperous and safest place in Windfall Nation. Who would have thought we would encounter a calamity not long after we arrived in Windfall Nation? All of us were confined in the Dark Nether sect. Fortunately, due to my ability to inscribe saint inscriptions, the people from the Dark Nether sect didn't kill us. However, they were forced to work for the Dark Nether sect and were sent to excavate the Saint Stone Reserve. Up until now, I'm not completely confident I'll be able to bring them out of here unharmed. If you have a say in the Situ clan, you can ask them for help. I'm sure the Dark Nether sect won't dare to not let us go. Bai Li Hong continued to speak. Naturally, it's fine if the Situ clan isn't willing to help. I'll think of a way to bring them out of the Dark Nether sect unharmed. Once we've left the Dark Nether sect, we'll go to the capital to look for you. For now, our lives won't be in danger. Apart from these words, Bai Li Hong also said he had come to the capital with an excuse. Moreover, there was a vice sect leader of Dark Nether sect and 2 Dark Nether sect elders by his side. The vice sect leader of Dark Nether sect was called Tan Chi. He was an imminent saint stage powerhouse. As for the 2 Dark Nether sect elders, they were also elites at the peak of the Saint Rudiment stage. Their cultivation bases were close to the imminent saint stage. After Bai Li Hong finished speaking, the contents of the voice transmission jade token finally came to an end. Dark Nether sect. Duan Lingtian's eyes gleamed coldly. Killing intent surged in his heart. How dare the Dark Nether sect enslave his senior brother, his family and friends? In his opinion, this was no different from a slap in the face. Master Duan, what did your senior brother say in the voice transmission jade token? Is there anything you need my help with? Situ Hang asked in a timely manner when he saw Duan Lingtian's expression was slightly off. His words were like rain in a drought. Young Master Hang, do you know about the Dark Nether sect? Duan Lingtian asked as he looked at Situ Hang. In the voice transmission jade token, his senior brother Bai Li Hong did not tell him what kind of sect the Dark Nether sect was. He could guess the reason why his senior brother did not tell him. He must have known he could ask around in the Situ clan. Dark Nether sect? I know about it. Situ Hang nodded. The Dark Nether sect is similar to the Drift Blaze sect. It's also a 7th-rate sect in our Windfall Nation. However, although they're both 7th-rate sects, the Dark Nether sect can't be compared to the Drift Blaze sect at all. In fact, they're far from being comparable to our Situ clan. In Windfall Nation, the Dark Nether sect is considered one of the weakest 7th-rate forces. They only have 2 Saint Stage powerhouses. Moreover, those 2 Saint Stage powerhouses had only broken through to the Saint Stage in recent years. 7th-rate sect? 2 Saint Stage powerhouses? Duan Lingtian could not help but frown. No matter how powerful or how many martial and Dao cultivators below the Saint Stage were, he was not afraid of them. With his current strength, he was confident he was invincible below the Saint Stage. However, a Saint Stage powerhouse was not someone he could deal with. At the very least, it was not someone he could deal with now. Master Duan, why did you suddenly ask about the Dark Nether sect? Is it related to your senior brother's current situation? As the great young master of Situ clan, Situ Hang was naturally not a fool. Naturally, he could guess many things from Duan Lingtian's question. Yes. Duan Lingtian did not hide anything and directly told him about his senior brother and his friends being imprisoned by the Dark Nether sect. Since the Dark Nether sect is a 7th-rate sect, with my current strength, it's almost impossible for me to rescue my senior brother and my friends. Young Master Hang, are you and your father willing to help me? If you can rescue my senior brother and my friends, I, Duan Lingtian, will owe you a favor. Duan Lingtian said solemnly when he reached the end of his sentence. All this while, Duan Lingtian had rarely promised favors. This was because he knew a favor was the hardest to repay. However, at that moment, for the sake of his senior brother, for the sake of his family and friends, he had decided to make a debt of gratitude. Dark Nether sect. Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Situ Hang's eyes gleamed a few times before he said, Master Duan, if the other party isn't the Dark Nether sect, even if it's a 7th-rate force that's slightly more powerful than the Dark Nether sect, I'll agree to your request immediately. However, since it's related to the Dark Nether sect, I'll have to report this to my father and let him make the decision. The moment Situ Hang's words left his mouth, Duan Lingtian could not help but frown. He instantly felt that Situ Hang was trying to evade his request. The Dark Nether sect was only a 7th-rate force at the bottom of Windfall Nation. Why would the Situ clan be afraid of it? When Situ Hang saw Duan Lingtian frowning, he naturally could guess what was on Duan Lingtian's mind. He smiled wryly and said, Master Duan, I'm not trying to evade your request. It's just that the Dark Nether sect has something to do with our Situ clan. It has something to do with your Situ clan? Duan Lingtian's expression turned grave. He did not expect the Situ clan to have something to do with the Dark Nether sect. If he had known earlier, he would not have saved Situ Hang. Naturally, this was merely a thought in his mind. Even if he knew the Situ clan had something to do with the Dark Nether sect, he would still save Situ Hang if he did not know his senior brother and friends were imprisoned by the Dark Nether sect. This was because he had saved Situ Hang because of the huge reward the Situ clan had promised him. Yes. Chapter 1606. Situ Zhuo was the second young master of Situ clan. He was also the one who almost caused Situ Hang to lose his life. As for Situ Ming, he was Situ Zhuo's father. On the surface, his status was only below Situ Hao, the clan leader of Situ clan. He was known as the second Master Ming. Although the Situ clan appeared to be united on the surface, it was actually divided into two factions. One of the factions was led by the clan leader, Situ Hao. The other faction was led by the second master, Situ Ming. In fact, Situ Ming's faction didn't start opposing our faction from his generation. In the previous generation, his father, like him, established his own faction in the Situ clan and went against my grandfather, the previous clan leader of Situ clan. Situ Hang continued to say. The Dark Nether sect rose to prominence when Situ Ming's father was still in his prime. According to our information, Situ Ming's father was the one who supported the Dark Nether sect. At the critical moment, the Dark Nether sect would become a sharp knife in Situ Ming's hands that would stab the chest of our faction. When Situ Hang reached this part of the sentence, his expression turned slightly solemn. All this while, our faction has been trying to get rid of the Dark Nether sect, but we haven't been able to do so. This is all because Situ Ming's faction has been protecting them in the dark. If we really make a move, I'm afraid Situ Ming's faction will take the risk and completely break ties with us for the sake of the Dark Nether sect. At that time, even if our faction is able to emerge victorious, the Situ clan will definitely suffer heavy casualties. At that time, the Situ clan might be reduced to a seventh-rate force like the current Dark Nether sect. Situ Hang voiced out his concerns. I see. After listening to Situ Hang's explanation, Duan Lingtian's expression eased up. If this was the case, Situ Hang's attitude earlier was understandable. In that case, even if you look for the clan leader of Situ clan, he might not be willing to help me? Duan Lingtian asked. Master Duan, I really want to help you. I believe my father feels the same way. However, even my father has to consider the bigger picture. However, my father might be able to think of a way to save senior brother Ling and your friends from the Dark Nether sect without offending Situ Ming's faction. Situ Hang spoke with an apologetic expression on his face. Most of the people from the Dark Nether sect are devil cultivators. It's best if we don't drag this out. Otherwise, your senior brother and your friends and family will be in danger. I'll ask my father for help. When Duan clan leader of the clan leader, Situ Hao clan leader of clan. Wait. At this moment, Duan Lingtian called out to Situ Hang. His eyes gleamed as he asked, Earlier, you said most of the people in the Dark Nether sect are devil cultivators? Master's factions A, and Master. However, to Duan Lingtian they were meat on the chopping board. Naturally, this only applied to devil cultivators whose cultivation base was at most one stage higher than Duan Lingtian. If it was a devil cultivator whose cultivation base was 2 stages higher than Duan Lingtian would not be able to do anything about it. If he encountered such a devil cultivator, he would be like a fish on a chopping board. This was because the devil seal tablet in his hand could only deal with devil cultivators who were 1 stage higher than him. Yes. Although Situ Hang did not know why Duan Lingtian was interested in this, he still nodded and said, Most of the elders and disciples in the Dark Nether sect are devil cultivators. As for the most powerful sect leader, Supreme Elder, and the few vice sect leaders, they're all devil cultivators. As devil cultivators, although the sect leader and Supreme Elder of the Dark Nether sect had just broken through to the Saint stage a few decades ago and are considered the weakest among the Saint stage, their combat strength is much stronger than ordinary Saint stage martial and Dao cultivators. This is the advantage of devil cultivators in this aspect. The combat strength of devil cultivators is famous in the Dao martial Saint land. Situ Hang continued to say. Duan Lingtian was aware of everything Situ Hang said. Devil cultivator? Strong combat strength? However, Situ Hang's words were a joke to Duan Lingtian. Perhaps, Devil cultivators were stronger than ordinary martial and Dao cultivators. However, to Duan Lingtian who possessed the Devil Seal tablet, they were not worth mentioning. Naturally, this applied to devil cultivators who were one stage higher than him. Young Master Hang, tell me the truth. Even if you look for your father, how confident are you? Duan Lingtian asked as he looked at Situ Hang with a glint in his eyes. Master Duan, although you're not older than me, I've always treated you as an elder. I don't want to lie to you and I don't want to lie to you as well. I'm afraid I'm less than 30% confident. Situ Hang sighed. He felt guilty. In that case, there's no need for you to tell your father about this. Duan Lingtian said. Master Duan? Situ Hang was stunned. He did not know why Duan Lingtian would say such a thing. Could it be that he was angry? I'll deal with this matter. After speaking to Situ Hang, Duan Lingtian left and disappeared from Situ Hang's sight in just a blink of an eye. Young Master Hang, I know you'll still tell your father about this matter. However, I appreciate your kindness. Even if I tell your father about this matter, and even if your father wants to help me, I hope you won't make a move. Perhaps I'll give you a surprise when I return. Just as Situ Hang was about to look for his father, Situ Hao, to tell him about this matter, Duan Lingtian's voice transmission entered his ears again. Duan Lingtian's voice transmission was filled with confidence. Situ Hang was stunned again. He did not know where Duan Lingtian got his confidence from. On the other side, after Duan Lingtian left the Situ clan's mansion, he walked through the streets of the Windfall Nation's capital and headed west. According to the voice transmission jade token sent by his senior brother, Bai Li Hong, he would be staying at one of the Dark Nether Sect's bases in the Windfall Nation's capital. The Dark Nether Sect's base was not a secret in the Windfall Nation's capital. Anyone could find out about it if they asked anyone. As a 7th-rate force, even if it was at the bottom, it was still a force with a Saint Stage powerhouse. Due to this reason, the Dark Nether Sect's base in the capital was extremely luxurious. Although it could not be compared to the Situ clan's mansion, it was still extremely spacious. When he arrived at the Dark Nether Sect's base, Duan Lingtian, naturally, did not go through the main entrance. Instead, he climbed over the wall and entered. Chapter 1607. In the Dark Nether Sect's base in the capital of Windfall Nation, there was usually only one Vice Sect leader guarding it. Coupled with Tan Chi, the Vice Sect leader of Dark Nether Sect, who came with Bai Li Hong, there were only 2 imminent Saint Stage powerhouses in the Dark Nether Sect's base. Although they were only 2 imminent Saint Stage devil cultivators, Duan Lingtian was not afraid of them at all. Put aside the fact that he had the Devil Seal tablet, a Super Saint weapon on the 10 Great Saint weapon ranking, he was confident he could defeat them even without the Devil Seal tablet. With his current strength, he was invincible below the Saint Stage if he used all his techniques. In a quiet courtyard in the Dark Nether Sect's base, Bai Li Hong was pacing back and forth as he muttered to himself, "Junior brother should have received the voice transmission jade token by now, right?" At this moment, Bai Li Hong was unaware that his junior brother, Duan Lingtian, had already infiltrated the Dark Nether Sect's base. Meanwhile, after Duan Lingtian had infiltrated the Dark Nether Sect's base, he immediately grabbed a Dark Nether Sect's disciple who was stationed there and threatened him, "Speak. Where's the 3-star Saint Inscription Master from your Dark Nether Sect's base? If you don't want to die, you better not lie to me." Duan Lingtian's eyes gleamed coldly, causing the Dark Nether Sect's disciple to shudder. The young man in front of him looked young, but when he was grabbed, he could not muster up any strength to resist at all. Based on this, one could see how powerful the young man was. He's in the courtyard near the north of the east. There's a 100-year-old fir tree in front of the courtyard. The Dark Nether Sect's disciple cooperated. After receiving the Dark Nether Sect's disciple's answer, Duan Lingtian raised his hand and knocked him out. He did not kill him. The reason he did not kill him was because the other party was cooperative. Moreover, it did not matter if the other party was still alive or not. According to the Dark Nether Sect's disciple, Duan Lingtian quickly found the courtyard where Bai Li Hong was. After he entered the courtyard, he immediately saw Bai Li Hong who was pacing back and forth with a frown on his face. "Senior brother?" Seeing Bai Li Hong's familiar figure, Duan Lingtian's eyes suddenly lit up, and he immediately greeted him. Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's voice, Bai Li Hong immediately turned around. "Junior brother." A hint of surprise appeared on his face when he saw Duan Lingtian. However, when he realized Duan Lingtian was alone, he could not help but frown. His heart was filled with confusion. "Where are the people from the Situ clan? Why didn't you come with junior brother?" Master Bailey, I didn't expect you to have a junior brother. Just as Duan Lingtian and Bai Li Hong were looking at each other, an untimely voice was heard, followed by the appearance of a figure in a black robe. Tan Chi, you're actually monitoring me? Bai Li Hong's face darkened when he saw the old man. He said coldly, my junior brother is only here to see me? What are you trying to do? Your junior brother is only here to see you? Tan Chi smiled when he heard Bai Li Hong's words. Master Bailey, it seems like your junior brother is quite strong to be able to appear here without anyone noticing. It seems like he wasn't brought here by a dark nether sect's disciple. When Tan Chi reached the end of his sentence, he looked at Duan Lingtian meaningfully as he sized up Duan Lingtian. Since Duan Lingtian had come alone, Tan Chi naturally regarded him as an uninvited guest. My junior brother's strength has nothing to do with you. He's only here to see me, his senior brother. After that, he'll naturally leave. Bai Li Hong, who did not see the people from the Situ clan, said in a timely manner. Naturally, he did not want Duan Lingtian to face Tan Chi. After all, Tan Chi's strength was higher than his. Naturally, if Tan Chi really wanted to make a move, he was not afraid at all. Master Bailey, since your junior brother is here, I think it's better for him to stay. Tan Chi smiled. In his opinion, since this purple-clad young man was Bai Li Hong's junior brother, it would be easier for him to control Bai Li Hong if he put him under house arrest. He was not afraid Bai Li Hong would disobey him. Tan Chi, don't force me. Bai Li Hong shouted in a low voice as he appeared in front of Duan Lingtian. He shielded Duan Lingtian behind him as he glared at Tan Chi. True energy rose from his body as the saint weapon inscribed with 3 3-star saint inscriptions appeared in his hand. He pointed it at Tan Chi as though he would make a move if Tan Chi dared to make a move on Duan Lingtian. At this moment, Bai Li Hong had completely forgotten about it due to his concern. Currently, Duan Lingtian was even more powerful than Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect. Although he was only ranked 23rd in the heaven ranking, his true strength could be ranked in the top 10 of the heaven ranking. Master Bailey, put aside the fact that you're no match for me, even if you can stop me for a while, do you think your junior brother will be able to leave? Tan Chi smiled brightly. Practically as soon as Tan Chi finished speaking, 2 old men completely shrouded in black robes appeared and stared fiercely at Duan Lingtian. So long as Duan Lingtian showed signs of escaping, they would make a move at the first possible moment. These 2 black-robed old men were the 2 Dark Nether Sect's elders who came to the capital with Tan Chi. Although their strength had yet to enter the Imminent Saint stage, they were at the peak of the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage. They were not far away from entering the Imminent Saint stage. They could be considered as the top powerhouses at the peak of the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage. Upon seeing this, Bai Li Hong's expression changed drastically. Initially, he thought he could hold Tan Chi back even if he was no match for him. This way, his junior brother, Duan Lingtian, would have a chance to escape. However, it seemed like it was impossible now. Tan Chi, if you don't let my junior brother go today, I won't return to the Dark Nether sect with you. Bai Li Hong threatened in a deep voice. Master Bailey, are you threatening me? However, when Tan Chi heard Bai Li Hong's threat, he laughed as though he had heard the funniest joke in the world. What are you laughing at? Bai Li Hong's expression turned grave. Master Bailey, you don't have to return to the Dark Nether sect with me. I believe you're strong enough to do so. However, you can escape on your own, but if you escape, do you think your junior brother will be able to survive? Moreover, there are a few people in the Dark Nether sect that you care about, right? Aren't you afraid they'll die one day? Tan Chi smiled brightly. Based on his words, it was as though he had everything under control. One had to admit Tan Chi's words hit Bai Li Hong's soft spot, causing him to feel helpless. Vice Sect Leader Tan. After a while, Bai Li Hong took a deep breath and said softly, please let my junior brother go. With my friends in the Dark Nether sect, you don't have to worry about me leaving. They're enough. It doesn't matter if my junior brother is here or not. If the hard way did not work, he would use the soft way. For the sake of Duan Lingtian, Bai Li Hong could be considered to have lowered his voice. Ha! Tan Chi burst out laughing when he heard Bai Li Hong's words. Master Bai Li, this is the first time I've seen you act so humbly. It seems like this junior brother of yours has a very high position in your heart. It's much higher than your friends. If that's the case, there's no way I'll let him leave. Bai Li Hong's expression changed drastically when he heard Tan Chi's words. He thought his junior brother had followed him into the tiger's den. However, he did not notice that Duan Lingtian, who was standing behind him, had a calm expression from the beginning until the end. It was as though he was not affected by Tan Chi's words at all. It was as though he did not hear Tan Chi's words at all. There were only two possibilities for such a slow reaction. First, Duan Lingtian was deaf and did not know how to read lips. Second, Duan Lingtian did not take Tan Chi's words to heart at all. Naturally, Duan Lingtian was not the former. Vice Sect Leader Tan, I'm afraid you still don't know. This junior brother of mine is the interim advisor of the Situ clan in the capital, Duan Lingtian. I'm sure the Situ clan is aware of his visit. If you detain him, I'm afraid the Situ clan won't let this go easily. Bai Li Hong suddenly recalled Duan Lingtian's current identity. He could not help but use the Situ clan to scare Tan Chi even at this moment. Bai Li Hong, who was worried about Duan Lingtian, still did not expect him to possess the strength to be ranked on the heaven ranking. However, even if he did not expect this, it did not mean the others did not as well. The two Dark Nether Sect's elders' expressions changed immediately as they stared at Duan Lingtian with dread in their eyes. On the other hand, Tan Chi's expression changed when he heard Bai Li Hong's words. At the same time, he stared at Duan Lingtian suspiciously and asked in a deep voice, "You're the interim advisor of Situ clan, Duan Lingtian, who defeated Drift Blaze Sect's Lady Feng and is ranked 23rd on the heaven ranking?" Needless to say, Duan Lingtian's name was still a great deterrent. At the very least, it was a great deterrent to Tan Chi after all. Although Tan Chi was at the imminent saint stage, he was not qualified to be ranked on the heaven ranking because he was not strong enough. Soon after, Tan Chi realized Duan Lingtian did not respond to his question at all. For a moment, a bad feeling rose in his heart. Only a fool would remain so calm after knowing his identity. Otherwise he was not afraid of him at all. It was obvious the purple-clad young man before him was not the former. That's right. How could I have forgotten? Junior brother is the strongest person among the younger generation in Windfall Nation. He's a famous powerhouse on the heaven ranking. Although he's only ranked 23rd, his true strength is widely acknowledged to be in the top 10 of the heaven ranking. At the same time, Bai Li Hong finally regained his senses. He finally remembered Duan Lingtian's current strength was extraordinary. Bai Li Hong felt his face burning as he returned to Duan Lingtian's side. He suddenly felt how ridiculous he was earlier. At this moment, even his strength was not comparable to his junior brother. However, he had overestimated himself and stood in front of Duan Lingtian in an attempt to protect Duan Lingtian. Chapter 1608. Naturally, Duan Lingtian did not know about Bai Li Hong's thoughts. Even if he knew, he would not think much of it. After all, his senior brother Bai Li Hong was only worried about him. He would only be touched and would not laugh at Bai Li Hong. There's one more person. Should he come out now? While Tan Chi and the two Dark Nether Sect's elders were staring at Duan Lingtian warily, Duan Lingtian turned to look outside the courtyard and said nonchalantly. Everyone, including Tan Chi and Bai Li Hong, turned to look in that direction in unison. Even they did not notice that there was someone there. As expected of the interim advisor of Situ clan. He really lives up to his name. At this moment, a middle-aged man dressed in green robes walked into the courtyard. The middle-aged man had a jade-like complexion, and there was a cinnabar mole between his brows. When he walked in, his expression was calm, and his gaze was fixed on Duan Lingtian as he sized him up with interest. "Zhou Shu." Tan Chi's eyes lit up when he saw the green-clad middle-aged man. This was because the green-clad middle-aged man was the person in charge of the Dark Nether Sect's stronghold in the capital of Windfall Nation. He was also the vice sect leader of Dark Nether Sect. In terms of strength, he was much stronger than Tan Chi. Moreover, Zhou Shu was also a powerhouse in the heaven ranking. However, Zhou Shu's ranking in the heaven ranking was not as good as Duan Lingtian. He was only ranked 30th. Naturally, this did not mean that Zhou Shu was inferior to Duan Lingtian. This was because Zhou Shu's ranking was from 10 years ago. In the past 10 years, nobody could shake his ranking. In the past 10 years, the people in Windfall Nation were puzzled by Zhou Shu's refusal to challenge the powerhouses who were ranked at the top of the heaven ranking. In their opinion, the ranking in the heaven ranking had changed drastically in the past 10 years. Many people who were ranked lower than Zhou Shu had entered the top 10 of the heaven ranking. However, Zhou Shu did not make a move at all. It was as though he was content with being ranked 31st in the heaven ranking. Only a few people in the Dark Nether Sect knew that the reason Zhou Shu acted this way was not because he was satisfied with his current ranking on the heaven ranking. Instead, he was preparing to enter the top 3 of the heaven ranking in the future. To Zhou Shu, this was undoubtedly a great honor. This was an opportunity for the Dark Nether Sect to make a name for themselves. At that time, people would say that the vice sect leader of the Dark Nether Sect had directly entered the top 3 of the heaven ranking. With such an influence, it was only natural that more and more people would join the Dark Nether Sect. As a vice-sect leader of the Dark Nether sect, Tan Chi naturally knew about this matter. Not only that, but he also knew Zhou Shu's current strength was definitely stronger than Lady Feng from Windfall Nation. Apart from that, he also felt Zhou Shu's current strength was not inferior to the interim advisor of Situ clan, Duan Lingtian, who had defeated Lady Feng. Due to this reason, when he saw Zhou Shu, he felt as though he had seen his savior. After Zhou Shu appeared, Duan Lingtian ignored him. Instead, he looked at Bai Li Hong and said with a smile, "Senior brother, bring me to the Dark Nether sect. We'll bring Uncle Feng and the others to the capital." Based on his words, he completely ignored Zhou Shu, Tan Chi and the others. Tan Chi's expression turned grave immediately. This was his first time being ignored by a non-Saint stage powerhouse. Although the other party was a powerhouse on the heaven ranking and was stronger than him, he still could not take it. He sneered and said, "Even if you're the interim advisor of Situ clan, do you think you'll be able to get them from the Dark Nether sect? How naive." If it was another seventh-rate force whose strength was on par with the Situ clan, perhaps the Dark Nether sect would be wary. However, they were not afraid of the Situ clan at all. This was because the Dark Nether sect had a close relationship with the Situ clan to a certain extent. In his opinion, even if the Situ clan knew Duan Lingtian's friend was imprisoned by the Dark Nether sect, they would not meddle in their business. At this moment, even Zhou Shu's expression was grave. As someone who was second only to the sect leader and the supreme elder in the Dark Nether sect, naturally he had his own pride. Anger rose in his heart when he was ignored by Duan Lingtian. Killing intent could be seen in his eyes as the true energy in his body surged. The devil chi in his true energy rose as well, causing the atmosphere to become slightly oppressive. "Who said I'm going to the Dark Nether sect to get my friend back?" Duan Lingtian glanced at Tan Chi disdainfully. "You're just a bunch of good-for-nothings from the Dark Nether sect. Isn't it easy for me to get my friend back?" A bunch of good-for-nothings from the Dark Nether sect. Duan Lingtian's words were like poking a hornet's nest. Not only did Tan Chi's expression turn grave, but even Zhou Shu and the other two Dark Nether sect's elders' expressions changed as well. They looked at Duan Lingtian coldly. "You're seeking death." Tan Chi growled. However, he was not in a hurry to make a move. Instead, he glanced at Zhou Shu. Although he was angry, he had lost his rationality. For someone like Duan Lingtian, it would be fine if he used underhanded means. However, if he were to face him head-on, he would be the unlucky one. How arrogant. Do you really think you're invincible just because you've defeated Drift Blaze Sect's Lady Feng and replaced her on the heaven ranking? Zhou Shu took a step forward as devil chi surged out of his body. His gaze was as cold as a blade as he glared at Duan Lingtian. "I don't dare to say I'm invincible, but I don't care about a bunch of good-for-nothings from the Dark Nether sect." Duan Lingtian's expression remained calm as he said nonchalantly, "You're seeking death." Finally, Zhou Shu could no longer hold it in. His true energy and devil chi surged out of his body. At the same time, within a radius of 100 meters, waves of cold aura rose up, as if something was brewing. It was Zhou Shu's true energy condensed domain technique, condensing his domain. As the domain gradually coalesced, a giant beast shrouded in blood-red stellar energy appeared in the air above Zhou Shu's head, accompanied by a giant axe. The gigantic beast instantly pounced toward Duan Lingtian. It opened its bloody mouth menacingly as though it wanted to swallow Duan Lingtian whole. The gigantic axe soared through the air as though it could tear apart the territory. It wanted to cut Duan Lingtian in half. Duan Lingtian remained calm in the face of Zhou Shu's preemptive strike. There was no hint of panic on his face at all. "Break!" Without warning, Duan Lingtian spat out a word. In just an instant, it was as though the air had been torn apart. Waves of sharp sword chi swept out in a 100-meter radius around Duan Lingtian. Wherever the sword chi passed, the chilling and oppressive aura would be dispelled and suppressed. It was as though it had never appeared before. In just a blink of an eye, 10,000 sword rays appeared in a 100-meter radius around Duan Lingtian. It was his 10,000 swords territory. Not only was the 10,000 swords territory powerful, but the speed at which it was formed was also much faster than an ordinary territory. Before Zhou Shu's territory was completely formed, the 10,000 swords territory had already formed and crushed Zhou Shu's unformed territory. The entire process was as easy as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. It was as though it did not encounter any resistance at all. Impossible. Upon seeing this, Zhou Shu's eyes widened. Shock and disbelief were written all over his face. Although he had heard about how domineering Duan Lingtian's territory was, He thought it was just like Lady Feng from Drift Blaze Sect's territory. It did not cross his mind that even his territory was powerless in front of Duan Lingtian's territory. It was easily crushed. For a time he found it hard to accept this reality. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. While Zhou Shu was still in a daze with just a thought from Duan Lingtian, thousands of sword rays shot out from the 10,000 Swords territory. In just a blink of an eye, they destroyed the gigantic axe and gigantic beast that Zhou Shu had formed with his True Energy Consolidated Weapon and True Energy Consolidated Beast. The entire process was as smooth as flowing water. It was as though a father was beating his son. When Tan Chi, Bai Li Hong and the other two Dark Nether Sect's elders saw this, they finally regained their senses. Their eyes widened in disbelief. Although they knew Duan Lingtian was powerful, they did not expect him to be this powerful. Tan Chi in particular was aware of Zhou Shu's strength. However, even Zhou Shu could not withstand a single blow from Duan Lingtian. It was hard for him to accept this. Before the four of them could react, the 10,000 sword rays in the 10,000 Swords territory gathered under Duan Lingtian's feet in just a blink of an eye, forming a flying sword that looked like a real sword. It emitted waves of sharp sword intent that caused ripples to appear in the air as though it would shatter at any moment. When Zhou Shu sensed the terrifying sword intent emitting from the flying sword under Duan Lingtian's feet, his heart jolted. Although Duan Lingtian did not seem to be using any Saint-grade martial tactic, the terrifying sword intent that was emitting from the flying sword under Duan Lingtian's feet gave him a feeling that it was even more terrifying than any human-rank prominent Saint-grade martial tactics attack that had been cultivated to its peak. It made him lose all will to fight back. Run. Run. At this moment, Zhou Shu only had one thought left in his mind, and he immediately put it into action. With his life at stake, he did not have time to think about anything else. The only thought he had was to save his own life. Vice Sect Leader Zhou, are you trying to escape? The two Dark Nether Sect's elders were dumbfounded when they saw this. Swoosh. At this moment, a short-lived sword cry entered by Li Hong, Tan Chi, and the two Dark Nether Sect's elders' ears before it disappeared in just a blink of an eye. It was as though it had never been heard at all. Among the four of them, only Tan Chi managed to catch a glimpse of the sword ray that had flashed by. All he saw was Duan Lingtian stepping on the flying sword as he charged out. In just a blink of an eye, before Zhou Shu could even get far, the flying sword under his feet had already sliced through Zhou Shu's neck as though he was cutting a piece of vegetable. Throughout the entire process, not a single drop of blood was spilled during this short period of time. It was only when the flying sword had traveled a certain distance that blood splattered everywhere. Zhou Shu was dead. Chapter 1609. Bai Li Hong's eyes were filled with joy when he looked at Duan Lingtian. Although he had long heard that his junior brother's strength was extraordinary, it was only hearsay. Today when he saw it with his own eyes he was still shocked. The person in charge of the Dark Nether Sect's stronghold in Windfall Nation, the vice sect leader of Dark Nether Sect, Zhou Shu, had died just like that. Although he had not been in the Dark Nether Sect for a long time, he had long heard of Zhou Shu's name. He knew Zhou Shu was the third strongest person in Dark Nether Sect. His strength was only below the sect leader and the supreme elder of Dark Nether Sect. Both of them were Saint-stage powerhouses. This Zhou Shu made it to the 30th place on the Heaven ranking more than 10 years ago. Although he hasn't challenged the people at the top of the Heaven ranking in recent years, nobody has been able to shake his position. His true strength is definitely not as simple as the 30th place in the Heaven ranking. The moment Bai Li Hong thought of this, he inhaled sharply. He was deeply shocked by Duan Lingtian's strength. On the other hand, Tan Chi looked at Duan Lingtian. Apart from fear, there was only fear in his eyes. Zhou Shu was killed by him. Moreover, he killed him in just a second. How's this possible? Zhou Shu's strength is even stronger than Lady Feng from Drift Blaze Sect. What kind of monster is this Duan Lingtian? How did he kill Zhou Shu so easily? Tan Chi's heart was filled with shock. Until now, he still could not believe what he had just seen was real. When the two Dark Nether Sect's elders saw Zhou Shu's body being split into two, horror dawned on their faces as well. When they looked at Duan Lingtian again, there was only fear in their eyes. It was fear that came from the bottom of their hearts and souls. Faced with Duan Lingtian, who could easily kill the third strongest person in Dark Nether Sect, they felt helpless. Senior brother, the person who kidnapped you and Uncle Feng to the Dark Nether Sect mentioned in the voice transmission jade token you gave me? Is he the one? Duan Lingtian stood on the flying sword. His purple robe fluttered even though there was no wind. His calm gaze landed on Tan Chi as he asked Bai Li Hong. Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Tan Chi's expression changed drastically. That's right, it's him. Bai Li Hong nodded. At the same time he glared at Tan Chi. If Tan Chi did not kidnap them to the Dark Nether sect, they would have arrived at the capital of Windfall Nation and reunited with their junior brother. It would not have been so troublesome. It's a misunderstanding. This is a misunderstanding. When Tan Chi saw the gaze that Duan Lingtian shot at him had suddenly become fierce, his originally unsightly expression became even more unsightly. However, he still tried his best to squeeze out a trace of a smile towards Duan Lingtian. This smile looked even uglier than crying. At this moment, Tan Chi really wanted to run away. However, when he thought of Zhou Shu's fate, his body froze. Zhou Shu's strength was far above his, and in terms of speed, he was far inferior to him. However, even Zhou Shu had not been able to escape from the purple-clothed youth before him. How could he possibly escape from him? Misunderstanding? Bai Li Hong sneered. Tan Chi ignored Bai Li Hong. His gaze would occasionally shift to Duan Lingtian's face as he watched the changes in Duan Lingtian's expression warily. It was as though he wanted to know how Duan Lingtian was feeling. Occasionally he would shift his gaze to the flying sword under Duan Lingtian's feet. This was his first time seeing a territory that could be consolidated into a sword. And this sword seemed to contain an extremely terrifying power. This could be seen from how Zhou Shu was instantly killed by the sword earlier. Tan Chi's eyes widened in shock. This was because he saw the flying sword under Duan Lingtian's feet suddenly lit up and shone brightly. At this moment he felt a sharp and terrifying aura locking onto him. This aura came from the flying sword under Duan Lingtian's feet. And Tan Chi's thoughts almost froze at this moment. Whoosh! Another short-lived sword cry rang in the air and entered the ears of Bai Li Hong, the two Dark Nether sect's elders, and Tan Chi at the same time. And this flash of sword whistling was destined to be the last sound he heard in his life. Duan Lingtian stepped on the flying sword and flew past. Tan Chi's head left his body as well. He followed in Zhou Shu's footsteps. In just a few moments, the two vice sect leaders of Dark Nether sect were killed by Duan Lingtian's sword. Whoosh! Whoosh! Upon seeing this, the two Dark Nether sect's elders' expressions changed immediately. After exchanging a glance, they tacitly split into two and fled in different directions. At this moment they did not dare to think Duan Lingtian would let them go. Although they did not know if they could escape, they would die if they did not. In order to survive they chose to fight. Humph! Duan Lingtian snorted coldly when he saw the two Dark Nether sect's elders fleeing in different directions. In just a blink of an eye, the flying sword under his feet shone brightly like the sun as it spread out in all directions. In just a blink of an eye, tens of thousands of sword rays shot out in all directions. It was as though these sword rays had eyes. They purposely avoided Bai Li Hong and did not hurt him at all. The two Dark Nether sect's elders, on the other hand, were pierced into two hornets' beehives in just a blink of an eye. Their bodies were filled with countless bloody holes, and they were no longer breathing. It was obvious they had been killed in just a blink of an eye. From the beginning until the end, Duan Lingtian did not even use the Devil Seal tablet when he killed the two vice sect leaders and two elders of the Dark Nether sect. Although they were all devil cultivators with extraordinary strength, Duan Lingtian managed to kill them with his own strength. From this, one could see how powerful he was since he thought he was invincible below the saint stage. Bai Li Hong was dazzled by the changes in the situation before him. Senior brother. It was only when Duan Lingtian called out to him that Bai Li Hong regained his senses. When he looked at Duan Lingtian again, his gaze was complicated. However, there was a smile on his face. He was happy for Duan Lingtian's achievements. Once upon a time, this junior brother of his still needed his protection. However, at this moment, his junior brother's strength had indeed far surpassed his. Senior brother, bring me to the Dark Nether sect. Duan Lingtian said to Bai Li Hong. Dark Nether sect. Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Bai Li Hong's eyes lit up immediately. He asked, Junior brother, has the Situ clan agreed to help? No. Duan Lingtian shook his head and continued to say, Senior brother, it's just me and you. Just us. Bai Li Hong frowned immediately. Junior brother, this is not a joke. Although Zhou Shu, whom you killed earlier, could be considered as the third strongest person in Dark Nether sect, the two strongest people in Dark Nether sect are the strongest. However, the two strongest people in the Dark Nether sect, the sect leader and the Supreme Elder, were both Saint Stage powerhouses. Unless we don't alarm them, it'll be difficult for us to rescue them from under their noses. If we make a move in the Dark Nether sect, it'll be difficult for us to not alarm them as well. When Bai Li Hong reached the end of his sentence, he felt helpless. Senior brother, I know what you're talking about. Don't worry, I have a way. Duan Ling Tian said. Junior brother. Don't tell me you've broken through to the saint stage? Bai Li Hong asked as he stared at Duan Ling Tian with a burning gaze as a flash of inspiration appeared in his mind. No. Duan Ling Tian shook his head. Although he had the help of the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda, and his cultivation progress was extremely fast, he was still a long way from reaching the saint stage. Even with the help of the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda, it would still take some time. No. Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Bai Li Hong was disheartened. Junior brother, it's not that I'm looking down on you. Although you're powerful, I'm afraid you're ranked in the top few in the heaven ranking. However, even if you're ranked first in the heaven ranking, you're still nothing in front of a saint stage powerhouse. The difference between a non-saint stage powerhouse and a saint stage powerhouse is just too big. It'll be difficult to rescue them without alarming the 2 saint stage powerhouses in the Dark Nether sect. Bai Li Hong was certain about this. This was because he knew before he and Tan Chi left the Dark Nether sect's estate, Tan Chi had gone to look for the sect leader of Dark Nether sect and told him that he had a chance to become a 4-star saint inscription master. The sect leader of Dark Nether sect was very concerned about this as well. He had personally paid attention to Feng Wu Dao and the others. He knew Bai Li Hong would only work for the Dark Nether sect and inscribe saint inscriptions for the Dark Nether sect if Feng Wu Dao and the others were in the sect. Due to this reason, it was almost impossible to rescue Feng Wu Dao and the others under such circumstances without alarming the sect leader of Dark Nether sect. Senior brother, don't worry. I'm confident I'll be able to rescue Uncle Feng and the others. Although Duan Ling Tian had told Bai Li Hong what was at stake, he was still confident. It was as though he was not afraid of the 2 saint stage powerhouses in the Dark Nether sect at all. Bai Li Hong had known Duan Ling Tian for a long time. Naturally, he knew Duan Ling Tian was not a person who would speak without thinking. Although he did not know where Duan Ling Tian got his confidence from, he did not say anything else. After leaving the capital of Windfall Nation with Duan Ling Tian, he brought Duan Ling Tian to the Dark Nether sect's estate. During the journey, Duan Ling Tian's emotions were slightly stirred. I didn't expect to receive news about Uncle Feng so soon. If Uncle Feng knows I found Tian Wu, he'll definitely be very happy. The father and daughter can finally be reunited after so many years. At this moment, Duan Ling Tian was thinking about Feng Tianwu, who was in the Drift Blaze sect. When Duan Ling Tian and Bai Li Hong were making their way to the Dark Nether sect, the Dark Nether sect's estate was also in an uproar. This was because the smell of blood from the bodies of the 2 vice sect leaders and the 2 elders had attracted the attention of many Dark Nether sect's disciples. As a result, the news of them being killed by someone quickly spread out. Surprise? In the Situ clan's estate, the clan leader, Situ Hao, had just finished listening to the interim advisor, Master Duan's words from his son. Before he could react, he saw a figure rushing in without any prior notice. This person was none other than Situ Ho, one of the supreme elders of Situ clan. Chapter 1610. Clan leader, the Dark Nether sect's stronghold in the capital was massacred by an unknown powerhouse. Vice sect leaders Zhou Shu, Tan Chi, and 2 Dark Nether sect's elders were killed. Situ Ho immediately reported to Situ Hao as soon as he entered the room. A hint of joy could be heard in his voice. To a certain extent, the Dark Nether sect could be said to be on the opposite side of their faction. The Dark Nether sect being attacked was, without a doubt, a good thing for their faction. When Situ Hao heard Situ Ho's words, he looked at his son, Situ Hang. Coincidentally, Situ Hang was looking at him as well. At this moment, both father and son saw the same message in each other's eyes. Master Duan. In the next moment, both of them spoke in unison. Master Duan? What happened to Master Duan? When Situ Ho heard their voices, a puzzled expression appeared on his face. Grandpa Ho, did you just say that Vice Sect leader Zhou Shu of Dark Nether Sect is dead as well? Situ Hang could not help but ask. Yes. Situ Ho nodded. Zhou Shu is indeed dead. Moreover, his head seems to have been chopped off. Many people are speculating that it must be a saint stage powerhouse who killed Zhou Shu so easily. After all, although Zhou Shu is only ranked 30th on the heaven ranking, that was more than 10 years ago. The reason why Zhou Shu remained on this ranking is because he didn't challenge anyone who was ranked at the top. Based on his strength, many people speculated that he would be ranked in the top 10 of the heaven ranking if he was placed on the current heaven ranking. Situ Ho continued to say, That's right. I'm afraid his strength is even stronger than Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect. Situ Hang nodded. It seems like Master Duan is really powerful. Even Zhou Shu was killed by him. Situ Hao sighed emotionally. With Master Duan's strength, it wouldn't be difficult for him to enter the top 3 of the heaven ranking. Yes. Situ Hang nodded his head in agreement. What? When Situ Ho heard Situ Hao's words, he could not help but widen his eyes. Clan leader, do you mean, the person who killed Zhou Shu is Master Duan? Hang, tell Elder Ho what you just told me. Situ Hao said to Situ Hang. Soon after, as Situ Hang spoke, Situ Ho also learned the ins and outs of the matter. Master Duan's senior brother and friends are imprisoned by the Dark Nether sect? Situ Ho frowned. Logically speaking, we should help Master Duan no matter what. However, this is related to the Dark Nether sect. It's not appropriate for us to act rashly. Otherwise the clan might be turned upside down. Moreover, now that such a huge incident has happened in the Dark Nether sect's stronghold in the capital, Situ Ming's people will most likely suspect us. Even if they don't shed all pretense of cordiality now, I'm sure they'll keep an eye on us. If we help Master Duan and go to the Dark Nether sect now, I'm afraid they'll shed all pretense of cordiality and cause a civil war in the Situ clan. Civil war. For a clan like the Situ clan, these 2 words were no different from a disaster. In the history of Windfall Nation, there were many 7th-rate forces that were not any weaker than the Situ clan. However, due to civil war, they had either fallen or were reduced to 8th-rate or 9th-rate forces. Due to this reason, no matter which force it was, they would try their best to avoid civil war. This was because once a civil war broke out, the fishermen would reap the benefits in the end. Once a force was weakened by civil war, the forces that were hostile to it would not let go of this opportunity to add insult to injury. Master Duan didn't allow us to interfere in this matter, Situ Hang said. Master Duan, you're right. Master Duan said he'll give us a surprise. Don't tell me he's talking about killing Zhou Shu and the others? Situ Hao asked, puzzled. That should be the case. Situ Ho nodded. Now that such a huge incident has happened in the Dark Nether sect's stronghold, Situ Ming's people will definitely investigate it immediately. Hang, go and see if Master Duan has returned. Situ Hao said to Situ Hang. Situ Hang responded and left. Meanwhile, on the other side of the Situ clan, many people were gathered in a spacious courtyard. A middle-aged man was the leader of these people. If Duan Lingtian was here, he would be able to recognize this person as Situ Ming, the second master of Situ clan, whom he had met before. Second master, something so big has happened in the Dark Nether sect's stronghold. I'm afraid this matter isn't as simple as it seems. Do you think the clan leader is behind this? An old man said as he looked at Situ Ming. I think the clan leader is behind this as well. Otherwise, why would such a huge incident suddenly happen in the Dark Nether sect's stronghold in the capital? Another middle-aged burly man agreed. I don't think the clan leader is behind this. Perhaps, it's an enemy of the Dark Nether sect. After all, most of the people in the Dark Nether sect are devil cultivators. They're violent by nature and have offended many people. Perhaps they've offended some powerhouse and brought this upon themselves. A middle-aged scribe said in a timely manner. His words seemed to be more rational. Indeed, that's possible. Many people agreed with the middle-aged scholar's words. Alright, stop arguing. We'll wait for Elder Zhong to come back and we'll be able to confirm this. Situ Ming interrupted the discussion with a frown on his face. Situ Ming had a certain level of authority in front of these people. The moment he spoke, the entire place fell silent. It was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop on the ground. The Elder Zhong that Situ Ming mentioned was the supreme elder of Situ clan. His name was Situ Zhong. In the Situ clan he was as famous as Situ Ho. 15 minutes later, a bald old man dressed in gray walked in from outside. His eyes were as sharp as an eagle's. Few people dared to look him in the eye. Situ Hao and Situ Ho didn't make a move. The bald old man was none other than Situ Zhong. He looked at Situ Ming as soon as he entered. Situ Ming nodded when he heard Situ Zhong's words. At the same time he sighed in relief. Humph. It seems like the Dark Nether sect's enemy is here. The Dark Nether sect is really good at causing trouble. They actually killed an imminent Saint Stage powerhouse like Zhou Shu. Without Zhou Shu, how is the Dark Nether sect going to rise again? Soon after, someone snorted coldly. Voices of dissatisfaction rose and fell one after another. As the core members of Situ Ming's faction, naturally they knew about the relationship between their faction and the Dark Nether sect. They knew the Dark Nether sect and the Dark Nether sect were in the same boat. The loss of the Dark Nether sect was also their loss. Alright, there's no point in talking about this now. The most important thing now is to find out who's the one who's going against the Dark Nether sect. Situ Ming said impatiently. While Situ Ming's faction was still in a state of chaos due to the incident at the Dark Nether sect's base, Duan Tian had already arrived at the Dark Nether sect's estate with Bai Li Hong. Junior brother, what's your plan? Bai Li Hong asked as he looked at Duan Tian. Senior brother, wait for me here. I'll scout the area first before coming back with you to save Uncle Feng and the others. Duan Tian said to Bai Li Hong. After he finished speaking without waiting for Bai Li Hong's reply, Duan Tian moved and disappeared in front of Bai Li Hong as though he had vanished into thin air. Upon seeing this, Bai Li Hong smiled wryly. However, there was nothing he could do. He could only wait on the spot. The Dark Nether sect's estate was not shrouded by a flight-prohibiting formation. Due to this reason, Duan Tian was like a fish in water when he entered. He did not encounter any obstacles as he easily entered and arrived at the eastern side of the Dark Nether sect's estate. Along the way, Duan Tian had learned about this from Bai Li Hong. The two saint stage powerhouses of the Dark Nether sect, the sect leader of Yin Yang sect and the supreme elder of Dark Nether sect, were cultivating in the eastern side of the Dark Nether sect's estate. This was because the heaven and earth spirit energy there was the most abundant in the entire Dark Nether sect's estate. Most of the 6th grade saint stones that appeared in the Dark Nether sect's 7th grade saint stone vein were in the eastern side. Due to this reason, the heaven and earth spirit energy there was especially rich. When Duan Tian arrived at the eastern side of the Dark Nether sect's estate, it was as though he had entered an uninhabited land. Although this was partly due to the lack of people in the eastern side, it was mostly due to Duan Tian's current strength. Ordinary people would not be able to discover his whereabouts at all. Suddenly, Duan Tian sensed a powerful spiritual energy appearing out of thin air and sweeping toward him menacingly. Divine consciousness. In an instant, Duan Tian could tell it was a divine consciousness. It was the divine consciousness of a saint stage powerhouse. Who are you? Why are you trespassing in my Dark Nether sect? At the same time, a clear voice entered Duan Tian's ears. The voice was loud and clear as though it came from all directions. Are you the sect leader of Dark Nether sect or the supreme elder of Dark Nether sect? Upon hearing this voice, Duan Tian's expression remained unchanged as he asked nonchalantly. You're a Saint Rudiment stage martial cultivator. You're quite bold. You know I'm the sect leader of Dark Nether sect, but you're still so calm. The loud voice resonated again. A hint of surprise could be heard in his voice. So what if you're the sect leader of Dark Nether sect? Don't tell me you're going to eat me? Duan Tian continued to speak nonchalantly. Whoosh. At this moment, a gust of wind seemed to have blown past. Ripples appeared in the air not far in front of Duan Tian before a tall figure appeared out of thin air. Naturally, the figure did not appear out of thin air. When Duan Tian slightly activated his strange pupil, he could still vaguely capture the trajectory of the person who had flown over earlier. The tall figure was dressed in a long black robe with red embroidery. He wore a crown on his head, making him appear extremely noble. Chapter 1611. The middle-aged man who appeared out of thin air was none other than the sect leader of Dark Nether sect, Yi Feng. Tell me, who are you? Why did you come to my Dark Nether sect? Yi Feng asked in a deep voice as he looked at the purple-clad young man with a slight frown. If it was not for the fact that the purple-clad young man before him had remained calm from the beginning until the end, he would have attacked at lightning speed and killed the purple-clad young man. As a devil cultivator, it was undoubtedly a great humiliation for him that someone had intruded into the sect he was in charge of. Moreover, this person had even intruded into the place where he cultivated. However, the purple-clad young man's behavior made him wary. Who knew if the purple-clad young man had a powerful background? If the purple-clad young man had a powerful background and he made a move, he and the Dark Nether sect would be the unlucky ones in the end. I'm Duan Tian. Duan Tian looked at Yi Feng calmly and said nonchalantly. Duan Tian. The moment Duan Tian's words left his mouth, Yi Feng's eyes widened immediately. Naturally, he was familiar with the name Duan Tian. He was the interim advisor of Situ clan who had suddenly appeared a few months ago. People called him Master Duan. He had become famous after he cured the great young master of Situ clan, Situ Hang. Then he challenged Lady Feng of Drift Blaze sect who was ranked 23rd on the heaven ranking and successfully replaced her. He was originally a nobody but now he was a powerhouse who was ranked at the top of the heaven ranking. Currently, Duan Lingtian was a household name in Windfall Nation. As the sect leader of Dark Nether Sect, it was impossible for Yi Feng not to know about Duan Lingtian. Apart from that, not only did he know about Duan Lingtian, but he also knew that the second master of Situ clan, Situ Ming, regarded Duan Lingtian as a thorn in his side. This was because Duan Lingtian had saved the Situ clan's first young master, Situ Hang, causing the Situ clan's second young master, Situ Zhua, to lose the opportunity to inherit the clan leader's position. In short, he had destroyed Situ Ming's plan. Although Situ Ming's faction was at odds with the other faction led by the Situ clan's patriarch, Situ Hao, to the point of fighting openly and covertly, even Situ Ming was unwilling to fight with Situ Hao's faction. Because once both sides fought, it would be the Situ clan's loss in the end. No matter who won in the end, they would not be considered the final winner. Only by obtaining control of the Situ clan without shedding a drop of blood could it be considered a true victory. Assassinating Situ Hang was undoubtedly a shortcut. Situ Ming's faction had also put their plan into action. However, in the end their plan had failed because of the appearance of Duan Lingtian. For this reason, in the eyes of Situ Ming's faction, Duan Lingtian had become a thorn in their side. The sect leader of Dark Nether Sect and the supreme elder of Dark Nether Sect owed Situ Ming's father a favor in the past. Due to this reason, to a certain extent, the Dark Nether Sect could also be considered as part of Situ Ming's faction. It was just that they did not belong to the Situ clan. The thorn in Situ Ming's side was, naturally, the thorn in Yi Feng's side as well. "You're the interim advisor of Situ clan, Master Duan?" When Yi Feng looked at Duan Lingtian again, his eyes gleamed coldly as he said in a deep voice, "Master Duan, our Dark Nether Sect and the Situ clan have always minded our own business. May I know the reason for your uninvited visit to our Dark Nether Sect today? If I'm not mistaken, as the sect leader of Dark Nether Sect, you must be itching to kill me right now, right?" Duan Lingtian said with a faint smile on his face. Yi Feng was shocked when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. He did not expect Duan Lingtian would know what was on his mind. One must know that even though he had such thoughts, he did not express them. He was very confident in his ability to control his emotions. Based on his expression, it doesn't seem like he's making a wild guess. It seems like he already knows about the relationship between our Dark Nether Sect and the Situ clan. Don't tell me he's here with Situ Hao's faction? Is he here to get rid of us? The moment Yi Feng thought of this, he became cautious again. "Master Duan, what do you mean by that?" However, on the surface Yi Feng pretended that he did not know anything. He frowned and pretended to be confused. "Situ Ming." Duan Lingtian's expression remained indifferent as he slowly spat out these three words. These three words caused Yi Feng's eyes to narrow immediately. He immediately began to observe his surroundings. He extended his divine consciousness as though he wanted to see if there were any powerhouses hiding in the dark waiting for an opportunity to make a move on him. At the same time he raised his hand and crushed a jade token. In just a blink of an eye, a ray of light shot out and disappeared into the mountains in the distance. "There's no need to look. It's just me. The clan leader of Situ clan and the others aren't here." When Duan Lingtian saw the grave expression on Yi Feng's face, he instantly knew what was on Yi Feng's mind. "You're here alone?" Naturally, Yi Feng did not believe this. Not only that, but he became even more cautious. He did not think Duan Lingtian would come here alone. This was especially true when Duan Lingtian knew about the relationship between the Dark Nether Sect and Situ Ming's faction. It was even more impossible for him to barge into the Dark Nether Sect alone. It was no different from seeking death. However, no matter how he looked at it, Duan Lingtian did not seem like a person who would seek death. Faced with Yi Feng's vigilance, Duan Lingtian, naturally, could see that Yi Feng did not believe him. For this reason, he did not say anything and waited quietly. He had also seen Yi Feng's action earlier. He knew Yi Feng was calling for someone. At this moment, the only person Yi Feng could call for was the Supreme Elder of the Dark Nether Sect. As expected, in just a short while, the space beside Yi Feng rippled, and an old figure appeared. It was an old man with messy gray hair that draped over his shoulders. His eyes shone with a bloodthirsty gleam. The old man's face was ferocious, and he did not look like a normal person at all. Invisibly, it brought about a strong sense of oppression. However, this oppression was only effective on ordinary people. It was completely ineffective on Duan Lingtian. "Supreme Elder of the Dark Nether Sect?" Duan Lingtian asked nonchalantly as he looked at the old man. However, the old man ignored him. After the old man appeared, he looked at Yi Feng who was standing next to him and asked, "Sect leader, why did you call me out in such a hurry?" Elder Peng, he's the new interim advisor of Situ clan, Duan Ling Tian. Yi Feng scanned the surroundings with his divine consciousness vigilantly. After he did not discover anything, he looked at Duan Ling Tian and said to the old man in a deep voice. Duan Ling Tian. It was obvious Elder Peng, the supreme elder of the Dark Nether sect, had heard of Duan Ling Tian's name before. When he learned of Duan Ling Tian's identity, his eyes narrowed slightly. However, the bloodthirsty gleam in his eyes intensified. A terrifying killing intent could be faintly felt coming from his body. Chapter 16:12. However, even though Elder Peng, the supreme elder of Dark Nether sect, wanted to kill Duan Ling Tian, he was not in a hurry to make a move. His divine consciousness was searching in all directions with Yi Feng's divine consciousness. It was as though they were trying to find the person hiding in the dark. Both of them had the same thought. They felt there was a powerhouse from Situ House faction behind Duan Ling Tian. Otherwise, Duan Ling Tian would not have appeared in front of them so openly. However, it did not cross their minds that perhaps Duan Ling Tian alone was enough to deal with them. Two idiots. Duan Ling Tian cursed inwardly when he saw the two of them staring at him, but their thoughts were not on him at all. At the same time, a stone tablet appeared in Duan Ling Tian's hand out of thin air. It was a stone tablet with a chipped corner. It was densely carved with ancient words. Even until now, Duan Ling Tian could not recognize any of the ancient words. However, even though he could not recognize the words on the stone tablet, it did not affect Duan Ling Tian's ability to use it at all. Whoosh! Duan Ling Tian raised his hand at lightning speed and lifted the stone tablet with a chipped corner in his hand. In the next instant, his eyes sharpened as he stared at Yi Feng and the old man next to him. In an instant, his hand that was holding the stone tablet trembled. The stone tablet in his hand shot out like an arrow toward Yi Feng and the old man. When the stone tablet flew out, wisps of black mist suddenly rose around it. The moment the black mist appeared, waves of terrifying aura instantly spread out and wreaked havoc in the surroundings. It even shrouded Yi Feng and the old man next to him. Both of them shuddered as they regained their senses. This terrifying aura caused both of their hearts to palpitate involuntarily. They immediately withdrew their divine consciousness and shifted their attention to the stone tablet with a chipped corner that Duan Ling Tian had thrown out. The stone tablet with a chipped corner gave them an extremely dangerous feeling. This feeling was suffocating to the point of suffocation. Boom! Boom! Without any hesitation, Yi Feng and the other man attacked almost at the same time. Accompanied by two loud sounds, two powerful auras instantly appeared within a radius of 100 meters around the two of them. It was obvious that they wanted to use their true essence to condense a domain that belonged to them. Vital essence was the power of a saint. A domain condensed from Zhen Yuan was not something a domain condensed from Zhen Qi could compare to. It wasn't just the strength of his domain. Even the speed at which he condensed his domain had increased by leaps and bounds. As soon as the auras of Yi Feng's domain appeared, before it could even take shape, it gave Duan Ling Tian a tremendous pressure. Duan Ling Tian's expression could not help but become solemn. As expected of a saint-stage powerhouse. Even my 10,000 swords territory won't be able to contend with such a territory. Duan Ling Tian could clearly feel this. However, although his expression was solemn, Duan Ling Tian had no intention of retreating. His gaze landed on the stone tablet with a chipped corner that was rapidly flying out. He had confidence in it. It was none other than the Devil Seal tablet, one of the 10 great Super Saint weapons on the 10 great Saint weapons ranking. It was also a Super Saint weapon that could restrain devil cultivators. Almost as soon as Duan Ling Tian's thoughts left his mind, as though it had sensed the domain condensed by Yi Feng and the other man's true essence, the black mist on the Devil Seal tablet instantly erupted. An even more terrifying aura spread out as though it was a powerhouse that had been provoked. It was completely enraged and unleashed all of its energy without holding back. As the black mist continued to erupt, the terrifying aura spread out. The domain that Yi Feng and the other man were about to condense was instantly suppressed. After being suppressed, Yi Feng and the other man's domain did not collapse. It was only on the verge of collapsing. Impossible. How's this possible? Upon seeing this, Yi Feng and the other man's expressions changed drastically. When they looked at the chipped cornerstone tablet that Duan Ling Tian tossed out again, their eyes were filled with horror. A mere Saint Rudiment stage martial cultivator had actually forced them to this extent. Naturally, they could tell this was all because of the stone tablet in front of them. What the hell was this stone tablet? Don't tell me. At this moment, Yi Feng seemed to have recalled something. his eyes widened as he cried out in shock, "It's the Devil Seal Tablet! It's the Devil Seal Tablet! The Devil Seal Tablet!" The moment Yi Feng's words left his mouth, the old man's expression changed drastically. He no longer focused on condensing his domain. In just an instant, the old man's domain that had yet to condense was instantly suppressed by the Devil Seal Tablet's energy. It shattered into pieces as though it had never existed. Once the Dark Nether Sect's Supreme Elder's domain was broken, Yi Feng's domain could no longer hold on. In just a short moment he followed in the former's footsteps. Without the support of their domain, both of them were completely exposed to the Devil Seal Tablet. Run! Run! Facing the Devil Seal Tablet that only existed in the legends, Yi Feng and the other man who had just witnessed the might of the Devil Seal Tablet had no intention to fight at all. They did not even have the time to look at each other before they fled in two different directions in panic. Whoosh! Whoosh! One had to admit that as Saint Stage powerhouses, both of them were ridiculously fast. Since both of them had fled in two different directions, the Devil Seal Tablet could only choose one target at a time. In the end, the Devil Seal Tablet chose the Supreme Elder of Dark Nether Sect and chased after him. The Supreme Elder of Dark Nether Sect was fast, but the Devil Seal Tablet was not slow either. In just a short moment, under Duan Lingtian's gaze, the energy that surged out of the Devil Seal Tablet shrouded the Supreme Elder of Dark Nether Sect in just a blink of an eye. The Supreme Elder of Dark Nether Sect was shrouded by a black cloud as though he was hiding. After a long while, the black cloud dissipated, and the Supreme Elder of Dark Nether Sect reappeared. However, when he reappeared, his eyes were dim and there was no sign of life on his body. The Devil Seal Tablet was used to suppress devil cultivators. Usually, it would only destroy the soul and not the body. For this reason, although the Supreme Elder of Dark Nether Sect looked fine on the surface, his soul had actually been destroyed by the Devil Seal Tablet. However, since the Devil Seal Tablet had chosen to suppress the Supreme Elder of Dark Nether Sect, it had missed the opportunity to suppress Yi Feng, the sect leader of Dark Nether Sect. Duan Lingtian initially thought the Devil Seal Tablet would continue to pursue Yi Feng after suppressing the Supreme Elder of Dark Nether Sect. However, he did not expect the Devil Seal Tablet would not make any move after suppressing the Supreme Elder of Dark Nether Sect. It was as though it had completely lost track of Yi Feng. One of them actually managed to escape. This is going to be troublesome. Duan Lingtian's expression was extremely grave. He knew he had chosen the best time to use the Devil Seal Tablet, but he did not expect Yi Feng, the sect leader of Dark Nether Sect, would still be able to escape. Now that Yi Feng had escaped, it meant he was going to be in trouble. Chapter 1613. Before he came here, Duan Lingtian had already planned to kill the two Saint Stage powerhouses from the Dark Nether Sect. Naturally, he planned to kill both of them at once. Initially, he had thought about luring one of them away. However, when he thought about it, it was not realistic. Although he was powerful now, he was not a match for either of the two Saint Stage powerhouses from the Dark Nether Sect if he did not use the Devil Seal Tablet. If he did not use the Devil Seal Tablet, he would be in a dangerous situation. However, if he used the Devil Seal Tablet, he would alert his enemies. Due to this reason, he decided to use the Devil Seal Tablet when both of them appeared at the same time. In the beginning, everything went according to his plan. When Yi Feng, the sect leader of Dark Nether Sect, and the Supreme Elder of Dark Nether Sect appeared together, Duan Lingtian could already see them being killed by the Devil Seal Tablet. However, what happened next was completely out of his expectations. He did not expect the Devil Seal Tablet would be able to suppress Yi Feng and the Supreme Elder of Dark Nether Sect so easily. Moreover, it took some time for them to escape. Moreover, he did not expect Yi Feng to recognize the Devil Seal Tablet at the most critical moment and decide to escape. Due to this reason, the situation had completely changed. The Supreme Elder of Dark Nether Sect was killed by the Devil Seal Tablet, and Yi Feng, the sect leader of Dark Nether Sect, had escaped. Now that the Devil Seal Tablet has lost track of Yi Feng, it's impossible for me to catch up to him with my current strength. Duan Lingtian's expression was grave. If it was any other time, he would not have thought much of it if Yi Feng had escaped. However, at this moment Yi Feng found out that he possessed the Devil Seal Tablet. Since Yi Feng knew he had the Devil Seal Tablet, he must have known it was a Super Saint weapon on the 10 Great Saint Weapons ranking. What if Yi Feng spread the news that he had the Devil Seal Tablet? It would be a disaster for him. Just the thought of it sent chills up Duan Lingtian's spine. Let alone the Southern Ridgyuan Mansion, the Devil Seal Tablet was a Super Saint weapon that people in the entire Dao Martial Saint land would go crazy for. To a devil cultivator, the Devil Seal tablet was no different from a nightmare. Whoever obtained the Devil Seal tombstone would not need to fear devil cultivators. Although they would only fear devil cultivators who were one realm higher than them, it was still an extremely impressive feat. Just this alone was sufficient to make countless martial and Dao cultivators go mad for the Devil Seal tablet and flock to it like ducks. If these people found out that the Devil Seal tombstone was in Duan Lingtian's hands, Duan Lingtian could almost imagine what would happen. Just the thought of that scene made Duan Lingtian tremble with fear. Duan Lingtian inhaled a breath of cold air. His eyes flickered and he finally calmed down after a long while. Since things have already developed to this stage, it is futile to think about it any further. The most important thing now is to rescue Uncle Feng, teacher, and the rest and bring them back to the Situ clan. The moment Duan Lingtian thought of this, he temporarily cast Yifeng's matter to the back of his mind. Since one of the two saint stage powerhouses from the Dark Nether sect had died and escaped, Duan Lingtian no longer had anything to worry about. He directly swaggered into the Dark Nether sect's estate where the 7th grade Saint Stone Reserve was mined. He no longer concealed himself. Who's there? Duan Lingtian's swagger naturally attracted the attention of many Dark Nether sect's patrolling disciples. These Dark Nether sect's disciples shouted one after another as they surrounded Duan Lingtian like dumplings. Previously, when the Devil Seal tablet killed the Supreme Elder of Dark Nether sect, it did not attract the attention of the Dark Nether sect's people. Otherwise, these Dark Nether sect's disciples would not dare to act so boldly. What a joke. How could they be a threat to someone who could kill their Dark Nether sect's Supreme Elder? Faced with the dozen or so Dark Nether sect's disciples surrounding him, Duan Lingtian raised an eyebrow and said nonchalantly, "Scram." Originally, Duan Lingtian did not think he would make things difficult for these people if they left. Unfortunately, when these Dark Nether sect's disciples heard Duan Lingtian's words, they became stubborn and flew into a rage. "Brat, you're seeking death. Not only did you barge into our Dark Nether sect, but you even asked us to scram. I really don't know where you get your courage from. Why are you wasting your breath on him? Kill him." The group of Dark Nether sect's disciples made a ruckus as they attacked Duan Lingtian. Dazzling true energy shot out in all directions and intertwined with each other as though they had transformed into a huge net that enveloped Duan Lingtian. As soon as Duan Lingtian snorted, the aura in the area within a 100-meter radius around him changed drastically. The piercing aura caused the group of Dark Nether sect's disciples' expressions to change. Just as their expressions changed, tens of thousands of solid sword lights appeared in the void within a radius of 100 meters. Territory. He's a Paramount Saint Rudiment stage powerhouse. When Duan Lingtian's 10,000 swords territory appeared and shattered the attacks of the group of Dark Nether sect's disciples, horror dawned on the group of Dark Nether sect's disciples as they cried out in horror. This was destined to be the last emotion they felt in their lives. As the 10,000 swords flew out, the bodies of the group of Dark Nether sect's disciples were pierced. In just a few moments, they turned into corpses that resembled a hornet's nest before they fell from the sky. In just a blink of an eye, the group of people who had come in a ferocious manner had turned into wandering ghosts. "I've given all of you a chance." Duan Lingtian's expression was cold as he looked at the corpses. His voice was indifferent and emotionless. Just like that, Duan Lingtian killed his way into the Dark Nether sect's 7th grade Saint Stone vein. During this time, Duan Lingtian killed another 2 imminent Saint stage devil cultivators. One of them was the vice sect leader of Dark Nether sect, and the other was the Grand Elder of Dark Nether sect. Duan Lingtian's appearance shocked all of the laborers in the Dark Nether sect's Saint Stone vein. Someone had actually killed his way into the Dark Nether sect's estate and even killed the vice sect leader and Grand Elder of Dark Nether sect. In the past, this was something that they did not even dare to think about. However, it was clear to them now. Duan Lingtian. Soon after, the group of laborers saw another young man who was also a laborer rose into the air. They were pleasantly surprised when they saw the purple-clad young man who looked like an invincible god of war. Does he know this powerhouse? Isn't he also a laborer like us? How is it possible for him to know such a powerhouse? That's right. How is it possible for a person who knows such a powerhouse to end up being a laborer here? The group of laborers discussed among themselves. They found it hard to believe. "Nangong-yi, from the looks of it, you didn't suffer much." Duan Lingtian smiled as he looked at the familiar young man before him. This young man was one of the Nangong brothers whom he was familiar with on Cloud Continent. His name was Nangong-yi. After Duan Ling Tian saw Nangong Yi, he quickly discovered Feng Wudao, Sima, and the others as well. When he discovered they were safe and sound, he could not help but heave a sigh of relief. Uncle Feng, teacher. Duan Ling Tian descended from the air and appeared in front of Feng Wudao and the others in just a blink of an eye. He greeted the two seniors, Feng Wudao and Sima Changfeng. After a while he greeted Qin Xiao Shuai. Then he nodded at Xiong Quan and Gold Thug and said, "I'm sorry for troubling all of you during this period of time." "You're welcome." Xiong Quan and Gold Thug shook their heads. Xiong Quan even smiled as he said, "I knew young master would definitely come and save us." "Master, don't tell me the interim advisor of Situ clan, Master Duan, who has been rumored in Windfall Nation recently is really you?" Gold Thug asked curiously as he looked at Duan Ling Tian. As Gold Thug asked the question, Feng Wudao and the others shifted their attention to Duan Ling Tian. They were also curious about this. "Yes." In the face of Gold Thug's question, Duan Ling Tian nodded and said with a smile, "I'm indeed the interim advisor of Situ clan now. I'm here to bring all of you away and temporarily bring all of you to the Situ clan." The interim advisor of Situ clan, Master Duan. Upon hearing Duan Ling Tian's admission, Feng Wudao and the others could not help but feel shocked even though they had suspected it. They knew very well why the interim advisor of Situ clan, Master Duan, was so famous. Now that they found out the Duan Ling Tian they knew was Master Duan, how could they not be shocked? "I can't believe it's really you," Qin Xiao Shuai exclaimed in shock. "In that case you're here with the powerhouses from Situ clan as well?" Nangong Yi asked with bright eyes as he looked at the corpses of the Dark Nether sect's disciples that had been smashed into minced meat on the ground. "No, I came here alone." Duan Ling Tian shook his head. "Alone?" Duan Ling Tian's words stunned Feng Wudao and the others. He had barged into the Dark Nether sect alone and killed so many Dark Nether sect's disciples, including the vice sect leader and grand elder. Although they did not find it strange that Duan Ling Tian possessed such strength, they did not find it strange. After all, when they found out Duan Ling Tian was the interim advisor of Situ clan, Master Duan, they knew he had the strength of a heaven-ranking powerhouse. Naturally, it was easy for him to kill two imminent saint stage powerhouses who were not in the heaven ranking. However, since Duan Ling Tian dared to kill so recklessly in the Dark Nether sect, there was no doubt he would alert the two saint stage powerhouses in the Dark Nether sect. It was precisely because they thought of those two saint stage experts that Feng Wudao and the others were frightened. "Young master, you should leave now. If the sect leader and supreme elder of Dark Nether sect catch wind of this and rush here, you'll be in danger." Xiong Quan was the first to regain his senses. His expression was solemn as he told Duan Ling Tian, "That's right. We'll take advantage of the chaos to escape. If we manage to escape, we'll go to the capital to look for you." Feng Wudao nodded in agreement as he said to Duan Ling Tian in a slightly anxious manner. Although Sima and the others did not say anything, the anxious look in their eyes when they looked at Duan Ling Tian showed they shared the same thoughts. They hoped Duan Ling Tian would leave as soon as possible so that the two saint stage powerhouses from Dark Nether sect would not be able to escape. "Don't worry, they won't come." Chapter 16-14. He won't come? When Feng Wudao and the others heard Duan Ling Tian's words, they were stunned. They did not know why Duan Ling Tian would say such a thing. However, when they saw the confidence on Duan Ling Tian's face, they could not help but believe in Duan Ling Tian's words. Although they had many questions in their hearts, they were not in a hurry to ask. Instead, they left with Duan Ling Tian. When the remaining laborers saw Duan Ling Tian leaving with Feng Wudao and the others, they finally regained their senses. "He's the interim advisor of Situ clan, Master Duan?" One of the laborers muttered in surprise. Earlier, since he was not far away from Duan Ling Tian and the others, he could vaguely hear the conversation between Duan Ling Tian and Feng Wudao and the others. "It seems like the rumors are true. The interim advisor of Situ clan, Master Duan, is indeed a powerhouse on the heaven ranking." Another laborer chimed in. "Humph? Master Duan isn't just a powerhouse on the heaven ranking. The powerhouses on the heaven ranking are also divided into different grades and ranks. Master Duan is currently ranked 23rd on the heaven ranking. If Master Duan continues to advance, his ranking will definitely not be limited to the 23rd place. You must know that even Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect who was defeated by Master Duan was widely acknowledged as someone who could enter the top 10 of the heaven ranking before she was defeated by Master Duan." "That's right. With Master Duan's strength, he'll definitely be able to enter the top 10 of the heaven ranking." The group of laborers discussed among themselves. Their words were all about Duan Lingtian. I can't believe those laborers like us are related to Master Duan. It's obvious Master Duan entered the Dark Nether sect today because of them. I'm so envious. It'll be great if I have such a relationship with Master Duan. That's enough. Stop dreaming. Master Duan is such an important person. He's not someone you can associate with. Master Duan has left with the others. There's no one from the Dark Nether sect around. Let's leave as well. If we continue to stay here, we'll die sooner or later. Amidst the sounds of discussion, the group of laborers quickly reached a consensus, and they all soared into the sky and fled towards the outside. Soon after, they discovered they did not encounter any obstacles along the way. Even when they occasionally saw the Dark Nether sect's disciples, they could tell they were running for their lives. Their expressions were even more panicked than theirs. What happened? Regarding this, the group of laborers was rather puzzled. They did not know that when Duan Lingtian killed the Grand Elder and the vice-sect leader of the Dark Nether sect, a Dark Nether sect's disciple had gone to the eastern side of the Dark Nether sect's estate to report to their sect leader. However, he soon discovered the sect leader of Dark Nether sect was not around. Moreover, he even found the corpse of the Supreme Elder of the Dark Nether sect. When the Dark Nether sect's disciple recounted everything he had seen, the remaining people from the Dark Nether sect, including the high-ranking officials and the disciples, chose to flee. The Grand Elder is dead and the sect master is missing. If we stay here, won't we be killed at any time? In the Dark Nether sect, when the tree fell, the monkeys would scatter. Naturally, Duan Lingtian was unaware of all this. At this moment, he was bringing Feng Wu Dao and the others to meet up with Bai Li Hong. Junior brother, Bai Li Hong had been waiting for a long time, but he did not see Duan Lingtian. He could not help but feel worried. Now that he saw Duan Lingtian had not only returned, but he had even brought Feng Wu Dao and the others with him, he was shocked. Was this not too efficient? Moreover, did the sect leader of Dark Nether sect not notice his junior brother's actions? Logically speaking, the sect leader of Dark Nether sect would most likely stop his junior brother from saving them. Could it be that the sect leader of Dark Nether sect was cultivating in closed-door cultivation, and that's why junior brother had the opportunity to kill them? In the end, Bai Li Hong thought to himself. As for killing the Supreme Elder of Dark Nether sect and scaring away the sect leader of Dark Nether sect, Bai Li Hong could not figure it out no matter how hard he racked his brains. Naturally, he did not dare to think about it as well. Senior brother, let's return to the capital. After calling out to Bai Li Hong, Duan Lingtian raised his hand. A vast amount of true energy surged out and transformed into an invisible force that carried Feng Wu Dao and the others back to the capital of Windfall Nation. Along the way, Bai Li Hong could not help but ask, Junior brother, did the sect leader of Dark Nether sect not show up? The moment Bai Li Hong's words left his mouth, Feng Wu Dao and the others shifted their attention to Duan Lingtian. They found this strange as well. Logically speaking, the sect leader of Dark Nether sect should have shown up soon after such a huge incident had happened. However, contrary to their expectations, the sect leader of Dark Nether sect did not show up from the beginning until the end. There must be something fishy about this. They had a feeling that something they didn't know was happening behind the scenes. He ran away, Duan Lingtian said. Ran away. Duan Lingtian's words caused Bai Li Hong, Feng Wu Dao, and the others to be petrified. The Dark Nether sect's Supreme Elder died in my hands, and the sect leader of Dark Nether sect, Yi Feng, has escaped. Duan Lingtian continued to say. When he mentioned Yi Feng's escape, he could not help but frown. Today's matter of rescuing someone was almost perfect. However, Yi Feng's escape had caused quite a lot of trouble. Although the latent danger might not be exposed in the near future, even Duan Lingtian himself could not say for sure what would happen when the news of him possessing the Devil Seal tablet spread out as time went by. Bai Li Hong and the others who were almost petrified were truly petrified when they heard Duan Lingtian say he had killed the Dark Nether sect's Supreme Elder. Bai Li Hong's figure that was moving forward came to a halt. Upon seeing this, Duan Lingtian, Feng Wu Dao, and the others also came to a halt. Duan Lingtian, YV broken through to the saint stage? Qin Xiao Shui asked in shock as his eyes widened. Freak. Nangong Yi looked at Duan Lingtian as though he had just seen a ghost. Feng Wu Dao and the others had similar expressions on their faces as well. When they found out Duan Lingtian was the interim advisor of Situ clan, Master Duan, they were already shocked by the improvement in his strength. It had only been a short while, but Duan Lingtian had already defeated Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect and entered the heaven ranking. In their opinion, this was already an exaggeration. However, it did not cross their minds that the exaggeration was yet to come. Duan Lingtian actually said he had killed the Dark Nether sect's supreme elder. In fact, that was a true saint stage powerhouse. Although they had only worked in the Dark Nether sect for a period of time, it did not affect Feng Wudao and the others' understanding of the Dark Nether sect and the two saint stage powerhouses. Based on Duan Lingtian's words, one of the two saint stage powerhouses from the Dark Nether sect had been killed by him while the other one had fled. Duan Lingtian had also said that the people from Situ clan did not come. He came alone. In other words, the other saint stage powerhouse from the Dark Nether sect, Yi Feng, the sect leader of Dark Nether sect, was scared away by Duan Lingtian. How could they not be shocked when they thought of this? Junior brother, didn't you say you haven't broken through to the saint stage yet? Bai Li Hong asked in a daze when he finally regained his senses after a long while. At the same time, Feng Wudao and the others' eyes were also trained on Duan Lingtian. It was as though they wanted to know how Duan Lingtian would answer this question. Senior brother, I didn't lie to you. It's true that I haven't broken through to the saint stage yet. Under the watchful eyes of the others, Duan Lingtian calmly said, as for the reason I killed the supreme elder of Dark Nether sect, it's because I used a special technique. The sect leader of Dark Nether sect was also scared away by my special technique. Special technique? Based on Duan Lingtian's words, it was obvious he did not want to reveal the technique he used. You're not at the saint stage, but you managed to kill a saint stage powerhouse. Junior brother, I don't know what to say to you anymore. Bai Li Hong sighed. He believed Duan Lingtian's words. Bai Li Hong was shocked, but Feng Wudao and the others were even more shocked. After all, Bai Li Hong had only met Duan Lingtian in the Dao Martial Saint Land. On the other hand, they had known Duan Lingtian since they were on Cloud Continent on the Mortal Continent. It could be said that they had watched Duan Lingtian grow step by step with their own eyes. At this moment, Duan Lingtian's strength was far beyond their reach. I can't believe there's someone as monstrous as Duan Lingtian in our Cloud Continent. Qin Shao Shui sighed emotionally. Feng Wudao and the others deeply agreed with this. Uncle Feng. Duan Lingtian did not linger on this topic. Soon after, he looked at Feng Wudao and changed the topic. I found Tianwu. Tianwu. The moment Duan Lingtian's words left his mouth, Feng Wudao was not the only one who looked at Duan Lingtian excitedly. Even Bai Li Hong, Sima Changfeng, and the others looked at Duan Lingtian in unison. Bai Li Hong was no stranger to Feng Tianwu. This was because his junior brother had asked him to look for a woman who came from the Mortal Continent just like his junior brother. She was also Feng Wudao's daughter. Sima Changfeng and the others were no stranger to Feng Tianwu as well. At the very least, after knowing Feng Wudao, they were no stranger to Feng Tianwu. They knew Feng Tianwu was Feng Wudao's daughter. They also knew about the complicated relationship between Feng Tianwu and Duan Lingtian. Now that they knew Duan Lingtian had found Feng Tianwu, Bai Li Hong and the others were happy for Feng Wudao. Big brother Feng, congratulations. Sima Changfeng was the first to congratulate Feng Wudao. After so many years of being together, he and Feng Wudao were already brothers. Uncle Feng, congratulations. The two brothers, Qin Shao Shui and Nangong, congratulated Feng Wudao as well. Miss Tianwu. Not only did Xiong Quan and Gold Thug know Feng Tianwu, but they had also spent quite some time with Feng Tianwu. Their eyes lit up when they found out their young master and master had found Feng Tianwu. Tianwu. Where is she now? Is she in the Situ clan in the capital? Feng Wudao looked at Duan Lingtian with a burning gaze, and even his breathing became slightly hurried. No. Duan Lingtian shook his head. No. Feng Wudao frowned. Yes. Chapter 16-15. Tianwu's master? Feng Wudao was stunned when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. He did not know what happened to his daughter after she came to the Dao Martial Saint Land. Due to this reason, he did not know his daughter had a master in the Dao Martial Saint Land. Uncle Feng, although all of you have been staying in the Dark Nether sect, I'm sure all of you know about the happenings in Windfall Nation. Duan Lingtian said as he looked at Feng Wudao. Yes. Feng Wudao nodded. Since all of you know I'm the interim advisor of Situ clan, I'm sure all of you know how I became famous in Windfall Nation, right? Duan Lingtian asked again. You healed the great young master of Situ clan and defeated Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect. That's how you became famous. This time, before Feng Wudao could speak, Nangong Yi had already spoken. That's right. Duan Lingtian nodded before asking again, Then, do all of you know about Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect? Of course. Nan Gongyi's eyes lit up. Speaking of Lady Feng, she's also a monstrous martial Dao prodigy. It's said that she appeared in Drift Blaze sect a few years ago and entered the heaven ranking a year ago. Not only that, but she's also the youngest martial Dao prodigy in the Southern Ridgeyuan Mansion's heaven ranking. Most importantly, she's a woman. Half a year later, she entered the 23rd place in the heaven ranking again. Not only did she become famous in Windfall Nation, but she's also famous in the Southern Ridgeyuan Mansion. Another half a year has passed. Just when almost everyone in Windfall Nation thought she had the strength to enter the top 10 of the heaven ranking, she was defeated by you. It can be said that she's the unluckiest person in your journey to become famous. However, with her innate talent and strength, it shouldn't be difficult for her to enter the top of the heaven ranking again. For a woman to be able to achieve so much at the age of 40, it really makes one blush with shame. When Nan Gongyi reached the end of his sentence, he could not help but sigh emotionally. Lingtian boy, you mentioned that Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect. Could it be? When Feng Wudao saw Duan Lingtian intentionally mentioning Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect, a thought that even he found hard to believe flashed through his mind. It was precisely because he found it hard to believe that he couldn't continue when he reached this point. Uncle Feng, looks like you've already guessed it. When Duan Lingtian saw Feng Wudao's expression, how could he not guess what he was thinking? He immediately smiled and said, "That's right. That Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect is your daughter, Tianwu." Boom. On the other hand, no matter if it entered into the ears of Feng Wudao or by Li Hong and the others, these words of Duan Lingtian were no different than a bolt of lightning that shook them to the point they were unable to recover from their shock for a long time. It's really Tianwu. Feng Tianwu's eyes widened. Her face was full of excitement, and her body trembled uncontrollably. That Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect is Feng Tianwu? Meanwhile, Bai Li Hong, Sima Chang Feng, Qin Xiao Shuai and Nangong were dumbfounded as well. They had also heard of Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect. Naturally, they knew what kind of person she was. If it was not for Duan Lingtian, Lady Feng would definitely be the most dazzling person among the younger generation in Windfall Nation. Even if she was defeated by Duan Lingtian, she was still dazzling in Windfall Nation. It was just that she was no longer the strongest person among the younger generation in Windfall Nation. However, such a young female powerhouse was actually the daughter that Feng Wudao had been looking for all this while. How could they not be shocked? Lady Feng is Miss Tianwu? At the same time, Xiong Quan and Gold Thug exchanged glances. They could see the shock in each other's eyes. Naturally, they were not unfamiliar with Feng Tianwu. However, it did not cross their minds that after a few years, the beautiful lady who was deeply in love with their young master and master had also achieved such a shocking achievement. She was only slightly inferior to their young master and master. Duan Lingtian was not surprised when he saw the shock on everyone's faces. After all, he was also shocked when he found out Lady Feng was Tianwu when he was in Drift Blaze sect. Wudao, congratulations. Bai Li Hong was the first to return to his senses and congratulated Feng Wudao. Sima Chang Feng and the others also returned to their senses and congratulated Feng Wudao one by one. In the end, Sima Chang Feng even sighed with envy. Big brother Feng, you have no more regrets in your life now that you have such an outstanding daughter. At this moment, Feng Wudao finally returned to his senses. However, he did not look as happy as everyone had imagined. It has only been a few years and Tianwu has already achieved such a cultivation base. I think she must have had a hard time in these few years. Feng Wudao said with a hint of heartache. As the saying went, one has to endure hardships to become a man of honor. Feng Wudao believed his daughter must have suffered a lot in order to achieve her current achievements. Due to this reason, he felt heartache for her. If it was possible, he really hoped his daughter could live a carefree life. She did not want to become powerful, she only wanted to live a peaceful life. This was the most sincere wish of a father. Let's return to the capital first. When Duan Lingtian saw the anticipation in Feng Tianwu's eyes, naturally he knew he was eager to see Feng Tianwu. He immediately called out to Bai Li Hong and brought Feng Wudao and the others back to the capital. When they returned, a shocking piece of news began to spread in the Dark Nether sect's estate. Of the two Saint Stage powerhouses in the Dark Nether sect, the Supreme Elder had been killed, and the sect leader had gone missing. Many high-ranking officials and disciples had also died in the sect. At the same time, the remaining high-ranking officials and disciples of the Dark Nether sect had also left the Dark Nether sect. They were afraid of getting into trouble. In just a blink of an eye, a seventh-rate sect had fallen apart. Surprisingly, Even though the Dark Nether sect's estate was empty, nobody dared to lay their hands on the 7th grade Saint Stone vein in the Dark Nether sect's estate. This was because they did not know if they would offend the powerhouse or force that had almost annihilated the Dark Nether sect. The Dark Nether sect is gone just like that? Although the Dark Nether sect is the weakest 7th-rate force in Windfall Nation, it's still a 7th-rate force. It's not something a 6th-rate force can compare to. Moreover, it even had 2 Saint-stage powerhouses. Such a sect was annihilated overnight. Who did the Dark Nether sect offend? Or did they offend some force? At the same time, many people near the Dark Nether sect's estate were discussing among themselves. They were curious about who the Dark Nether sect had offended. Soon after, another piece of news began to spread. On the same day that the Supreme Elder of the Dark Nether sect was killed and the sect leader went missing, many people who were captured by the Dark Nether sect had witnessed Master Duan, the interim advisor of Situ clan, appear in the Dark Nether sect and kill many of the Dark Nether sect's disciples. Apart from that, he had also killed a vice sect leader and the Grand Elder of the Dark Nether sect. Don't tell me it's the Situ clan? It should be. I wonder how the Dark Nether sect defended the Situ clan to the point that they had to annihilate it. They're both 7th-rate forces, but the Situ clan annihilated the Dark Nether sect as though they were playing house. How ridiculous. Humph. The Dark Nether sect is merely the weakest 7th-rate force in Windfall Nation. How can it be compared to the Situ clan? The Situ clan is one of the top 7th-rate forces in Windfall Nation. Not only that, but they also have a close relationship with the Imperial family. A mere Dark Nether sect is nothing compared to them. The rumors about the Situ clan annihilating the Dark Nether sect became more and more intense. All of this was because Duan Lingtian, the interim advisor of Situ clan, had appeared in the Dark Nether sect on the day the Dark Nether sect was annihilated. Not only that, but he had also killed many of the Dark Nether sect's disciples. However, the speed at which the news spread was not as fast as Duan Lingtian and Bai Lihong. Since Duan Lingtian and Bai Lihong remembered how much Feng Wudao missed his daughter, they traveled at full speed as well. In just a few days they arrived at the capital of Windfall Nation. When they arrived at the capital of Windfall Nation, Duan Lingtian immediately brought his men to the Situ clan. Master Duan. The guards at the entrance of the Situ clan bowed respectfully when they saw Duan Lingtian. They did not dare to be negligent at all. What a joke. Even the clan leader and the great young master of the Situ clan had to be respectful when they met the purple-clad young man. How could they dare to be impudent in front of him? All right. Duan Lingtian smiled as he nodded at the Situ clan's guards. Then he brought Bai Lihong, Feng Wudao, Sima, and the others into the Situ clan. Although the people brought by Duan Lingtian were unfamiliar faces, the Situ clan's guards did not dare to stop them. This was because they knew Master Duan was extremely powerful, so they did not dare to stop him. Even if Master Duan did not make a move, the clan leader and great young master would not allow them to be impudent. If they stopped him, perhaps they would have to pack up and leave the Situ clan when the news reached the ears of the clan leader and great young master. Master Duan actually smiled at us earlier. How kind. One of the Situ clan's guards sighed emotionally. Previously, second young master had a friend whose status and cultivation base could not compare to Master Duan. However, he was extremely arrogant in front of us. The way he looked at us was as though he was looking at lowly people. The gap between people is really huge. I was there that time as well. Perhaps this is what the saying goes, ugly people make more mischief. Another guard chimed in. Ah, that's right. In terms of appearance, second young master's friend really can't compare to Master Duan. The other family guards all laughed. However, there was one guard who did not say anything from the beginning until the end. Suddenly, his eyes flashed as he said to the other guards, "Brothers, I suddenly feel that my cultivation base seems to have improved, and I have to go into closed-door cultivation for a while. I'll be leaving for a period of time and I'll make up for all of you later. Go, go." Chapter 16:16. The Situ clan's guard who had temporarily left his post did not return to cultivate after he entered the Situ clan's estate. His destination was the inner mansion. To be more precise, it was the courtyard where Situ Ming, the second master of Situ clan, lived. Second master. After reporting his arrival, the Situ clan's guard successfully met Situ Ming. What's wrong? What's the matter? With just a glance, Situ Ming recognized the guard he had planted at the entrance of the Situ clan's estate. He could not help but ask, Every time someone entered or left the Situ clan's estate, he would be informed by the guards he had planted. Second Master, Master Duan has returned. The guard replied. He's only back now? Situ Ming frowned. Before the incident at the Dark Nether Sect's base in the capital, he already knew Duan Lingtian had left the Situ clan. Moreover, he even suspected the incident at the Dark Nether Sect's base in the capital was caused by Duan Lingtian. After all, Duan Lingtian was strong enough to enter the top 10 of the heaven ranking. However, when he thought about the strength of Zhou Shu, the person in charge of the Dark Nether Sect's base, he felt Duan Lingtian might not be a match for Zhou Shu. Yes. The guard nodded and continued to say, he brought 8 people with him this time. 8 people? Situ Ming frowned. Who are they? I'm not sure about that. The guard shook his head. Alright, I understand. You may leave now. Situ Ming replied and waved his hand to signal the guard to leave. After the guard left, Situ Ming frowned. His expression was extremely grave. Where did that Duan Lingtian come from? It's as though he appeared out of thin air in Windfall Nation and ruined my plan. The plan that Situ Ming mentioned was, naturally, the incident where he tried to assassinate Situ Hang. That matter was naturally not something that his son could do alone. He was the real mastermind behind it. The news of Duan Lingtian's return soon reached the ears of the clan leader of Situ clan, Situ Hao, and the great young master of Situ clan. Both of them came out to welcome Duan Lingtian at the same time. Master Duan. Clan leader of Situ clan, young Master Hang. When Duan Lingtian saw Situ Hao and Situ Hang, he smiled and greeted them. Then he introduced Bai Li Hong and the others behind him to them. Master Bai. Situ Hao and Situ Hao had long heard of Bai Li Hong. Hence they were very enthusiastic. Of course they didn't neglect Feng Wu Dao and the others. After all, they were Duan Lingtian's friends and family. Situ Hang's residence, Situ Hang's residence, Situ Hang's residence's residence. This arrangement was, naturally, for the convenience of Duan Lingtian and the others. They did not have to cross half of the Situ clan before they could meet. After settling Bai Li Hong and the others, Duan Lingtian looked at Feng Wu Dao. Uncle Feng, rest well today. I'll go to the Drift Blaze sect with you tomorrow morning. All right. Although Feng Wu Dao was anxious, he knew there was no need to rush. He nodded and returned to his room to rest. After bidding farewell to Bai Li Hong and the others, Duan Lingtian returned to Situ Hang's residence with Situ Hao and his son. Master Duan, I can't believe you managed to save all of them by yourself. Situ Hang exclaimed in shock. Master Duan, I don't think you met the sect leader and supreme elder in the Dark Nether sect this time, right? Situ Hao asked. He knew the Dark Nether sect very well. In fact, he wished he could uproot it. However, the moment he recalled the relationship between the Dark Nether sect and Situ Ming's progeny, he was worried the people from Situ Ming's progeny would become desperate and join forces with the 2 great Saint Stage powerhouses from the Dark Nether sect to deal with his progeny. If the 2 great Saint Stage powerhouses from the Dark Nether sect joined the fray, his progeny would definitely not be a match for them. At that time, even if the old ancestor of Situ clan intervened, their progeny would be greatly damaged. It would be impossible for them to fight with Situ Ming's progeny then. As the old ancestor of Situ clan, even if he knew Situ Ming's progeny was in the wrong, he would not blame them for the sake of the clan. This was the law of the jungle in the Dao Martial Saint Land. The strong preyed on the weak and only the fittest survived. Due to this reason, even if Duan Lingtian asked him to help, he was powerless to do so. He could not bring everyone from his progeny to gamble since it was a gamble that they would definitely lose. However, it was completely beyond his expectations that Duan Lingtian would be able to save them on his own. Yes. Duan Lingtian nodded. Yes. Upon hearing this, Situ Hao and Situ Hang narrowed their eyes immediately. Then, the Supreme Elder of Dark Nether Sect is dead. As for the sect leader of Dark Nether Sect, he has fled. Currently, the Dark Nether Sect only exists in name, right? Duan Lingtian said unhurriedly. His tone was very casual as though he was talking about something that had nothing to do with him. What? Duan Lingtian's words stunned Situ Hao and Situ Hang. Both of them looked at Duan Lingtian solemnly. They discovered Duan Lingtian did not seem to be lying at all. Young Master Hang, didn't I tell you before I left that I'll give you a surprise? Are you satisfied with this surprise? Duan Lingtian said with a smile as he looked at Situ Hang. Surprise. At this moment, Situ Hang finally remembered that Duan Lingtian had indeed said he would give him a surprise before he left the Situ clan without their help. However, he thought the surprise was because Duan Lingtian had killed the two vice sect leaders of Dark Nether sect at the Dark Nether sect stronghold. At this moment, he finally realized the surprise Duan Lingtian had mentioned was something he did not even dare to think about. The Supreme Elder of Dark Nether sect was dead, and the sect leader of Dark Nether sect had fled. The Dark Nether sect only existed in name. It seems like there's a terrifying force behind this Master Duan. Situ Hang thought to himself, could it be a powerhouse from Drift Blaze sect? When he recalled the close relationship between Duan Lingtian and Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect and the fact that Lady Feng was the direct disciple the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect doted on the most, he could not help but think to himself. Situ Hao's thoughts were similar to Situ Hang's. The Dark Nether sect was destroyed. The moment he thought of this, his heart was filled with excitement. His eyes were filled with gratitude when he looked at Duan Lingtian. Thank you, Master Duan. As the clan leader of Situ clan, Situ Hao actually bowed and thanked Duan Lingtian. If news of this spread out, many people would be shocked. Situ Hang bowed and thanked him as well. Naturally, Duan Lingtian was unaware of the thoughts of Situ Hao and Situ Hang. Duan Lingtian looked at Situ Hao and said, Clan leader Situ, my senior brother and my friends will be staying in the Situ clan for the time being. You, Master Duan, Master Bai Li and your friend can stay in our Situ clan for as long as they want. I can promise you that our Situ clan will treat them as distinguished guests and make them feel at home at all times. Before Duan Lingtian could finish his words, Situ Hao interrupted him and made a promise. Thank you, clan leader Situ. Duan Lingtian quickly thanked him. You're welcome, Master Duan. Situ Hao smiled. You're the interim advisor of our Situ clan. It's only right for me to do this. Master Duan. Situ Hang suddenly seemed to have recalled something as his expression turned grave. Earlier, I heard you and Master Feng say that you're going to the Drift Blaze sect with him tomorrow? Yes. Duan Lingtian nodded. Master Duan. At this moment, Situ Hao's expression turned grave as well. You don't know this, but the people from Situ Ming's faction have been very active while you were away. It's fine that they didn't know about your whereabouts when you left earlier. I'm sure they've received news that you're back today as well. If you leave tomorrow, I'm worried they'll do something to you. Situ Hao voiced out his concern. That's right. Situ Hang nodded as well. Even if Grandfather Ho comes with you tomorrow, it's still not safe. Based on our speculation, Situ Ming has most likely suspected you of being the one who killed the two vice sect leaders of Dark Nether sect. You've ruined their plans time and time again. If they find an opportunity, they won't let it go so easily. That's it? Duan Lingtian shook his head and smiled. He did not seem to mind. Master Duan, this isn't a joke. Situ Ming is a ruthless person through and through. He already holds a grudge against you for saving Hang previously. This time, even if he only suspects you and can't confirm it, he won't let you go so easily. Situ Hao smiled wryly. Even if Elder Ho comes with you tomorrow, all of you won't be safe. This is because Situ Ming might personally make a move. Coupled with the other Supreme Elder of our Situ clan, even Elder Ho won't be able to stop two Saint Stage powerhouses at the same time. However, if Master Duan insists, Elder Ho and I can come with you. Situ Hao took a deep breath and said when he saw Duan Lingtian was still unconcerned about this matter. Clan leader Situ, I know you have good intentions but there's no need for that. Duan Lingtian shook his head. A hint of confidence could be seen on his face. As long as you spread the word about our purpose of going to the Drift Blaze sect, Situ Ming won't dare to make a move on us even if he's 10 times more courageous. Purpose? What purpose? As though he was affected by Duan Lingtian's confidence, Situ Hao could not help but ask. Situ Hang also looked at Duan Lingtian curiously. My uncle Feng is the father of Drift Blaze sect's Lady Feng. Do you think Situ Ming will dare to make a move when the news of me accompanying my uncle Feng to the Drift Blaze sect spreads? Duan Lingtian smiled faintly. When Duan Lingtian's words entered Situ Hao and his son's ears, it was like a heavy bomb that exploded. It took them a while to regain their senses. That Master Feng is Lady Feng's father? Chapter 16-17. When they learned that Mr. Feng Wu Dao, who came to the Situ clan with Duan Lingtian, was the father of Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect, they were shocked. Whether it was Situ Hang or Situ Hao, both of them were shocked. It did not cross their minds that the ordinary-looking man whose cultivation base was merely at the mortal shedding stage would be the father of Lady Feng, who was famous in the entire Windfall Nation. Who was Lady Feng? She was the strongest powerhouse among the younger generation in Windfall Nation. She was only overshadowed by the interim advisor of Situ clan, Master Duan. However, apart from having an extremely high innate talent in martial Dao, Lady Feng had a background that was envied by many people in Windfall Nation. She was the direct disciple of the sect leader of the seventh-rate sect, Drift Blaze sect. She was also the direct disciple that the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect doted on the most. The sect leader of Drift Blaze sect treated her like her own daughter. In Windfall Nation, everyone knew that offending Lady Feng was no different from offending the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect. Who was the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect? She was someone that even the Windfall Nation's imperial family did not dare to offend. She was a great deterrent in Windfall Nation. If that's the case, we don't have to worry about Situ Ming making a move. Situ Hao nodded. He knew very well that once Situ Ming found out that Duan Lingtian and Lady Feng's father went to the Drift Blaze sect to visit her, he would not dare to make a move even if he was given 100 guts. Perhaps he could make the whole thing watertight. However, if something happened to Duan Lingtian and Feng Wu Dao, Lady Feng would definitely be furious. At that time, even if the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect did not stand up for Duan Lingtian, she would stand up for Feng Wu Dao since he was the biological father of her most beloved direct disciple. Killing Feng Wu Dao was no different from slapping her face. At that time, even if there was no evidence to prove that Situ Ming was the culprit, the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect would not let Situ Ming go since he had the motive. The sect leader of Drift Blaze sect would definitely not let go of anyone who had the motive to kill Duan Lingtian and Feng Wu Dao. She would definitely give her most beloved direct disciple a satisfactory explanation. I didn't expect Mr. Feng to be Miss Feng's father. I was a little rude to him just now. Situ Hang sighed. Uncle Feng won't take these things to heart. Duan Lingtian shook his head and smiled. Then he bid farewell to Situ Hao and his son and returned to his previous room. After Duan Lingtian returned to his room, Situ Hao and his son deliberately spread the news that Miss Feng's father, Mr. Feng, had come to the Situ clan as a guest. Moreover, everyone knew that the Situ clan's interim advisor, Master Duan, would be heading to the Drift Blaze sect with Mr. Feng tomorrow to visit his family and look for Lady Feng. In the courtyard where Situ Ming lived, a person hurriedly walked in. Second Master, Duan Lingtian is going to the Drift Blaze sect tomorrow. As far as I know, Situ Ho won't be going with him. The person who entered was an elder of the Situ clan. Oh. Upon hearing the Situ clan's elder's words, Situ Ming's eyes lit up immediately. Then does this mean we have a chance to get rid of Duan Lingtian? Situ Ming could not wait to grind Duan Lingtian's bones into dust for ruining his plans. Naturally, he would not miss the chance to kill Duan Lingtian when he heard about it. However, how can Situ Ho not be going with him? Soon after, Situ Ming frowned. He felt something was amiss. In fact, he was not afraid even if Situ Ho went with Duan Lingtian. After all, Situ Ho was alone. At that time, he would bring along the Situ clan's supreme elder who was as famous as Situ Ho. Situ Ho alone would not be able to stop the two saint-stage powerhouses. It must be related to the purpose of Duan Lingtian's departure tomorrow. The Situ clan's elder who hurriedly came to look for Situ Ming said, "According to the news I heard, Duan Lingtian will be leaving the capital with Lady Feng's father from the Drift Blaze sect tomorrow to visit his family." Drift Blaze sect's Lady Feng's father? Situ Ming's face turned grave. What's going on? It's said that Duan Lingtian brought a few people to our Situ clan today, and one of them is Lady Feng's father. The Situ clan's elder continued to say, "However, I'm pretty sure he's an imposter. Lady Feng has been famous in Windfall Nation for a long time, but I've never heard of her having a father." Then, have you heard of Lady Feng and Duan Lingtian having a close relationship before this? Situ Ming snorted coldly. Upon hearing this, the Situ clan's elder fell silent. The matter of their Situ clan's interim advisor, Duan Lingtian and Lady Feng, the Drift Blaze sect's disciple, had gradually spread out in Windfall Nation. Many people even called them a celestial couple since both of them stood at the peak of the younger generation in Windfall Nation. They were the idols of all the young talents in Windfall Nation. No wonder Situ Hao didn't plan to bring Situ Ho along. As it turns out, it's because of Lady Feng's father. Situ Ming said with a gloomy expression. He originally thought this was an opportunity, but only now did he realize that this was simply a pit that he did not dare to jump into. It would be fine if it was just Duan Lingtian. Although Duan Lingtian had a close relationship with Lady Feng, Duan Lingtian's death should not alarm Ziyun, the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect. After all, Duan Lingtian and Lady Feng only had an ambiguous relationship, and there was no official relationship between them. Under such circumstances, even if Lady Feng was the favorite direct disciple of the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect, Ziyun, it was impossible for her to stand up for Duanling Tian, who had been killed because of her status. A person's death was like an extinguished lamp. It was impossible for Ziyun to stand up for someone who was not related to her. However, Lady Feng's father was different. He was related to Lady Feng by blood. If he was killed, let alone Lady Feng, even the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect, Ziyun, would not stand by and do nothing. If she stood by and did nothing, people might say that she, the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect, was cold-hearted to the point that she did not even care about the life and death of her favorite direct disciple's father. He must be an impostor. The Situ clan's elder insisted on his opinion. Even if he's an impostor, do we still dare to bet? What if he's the real deal? At that time, do you think the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect, Ziyun, will stand by and do nothing? Situ Ming sneered. As long as we do it flawlessly, even the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect, Ziyun, won't be able to do anything to us, right? The Situ clan's elder said. Do you think the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect, Ziyun, would need to gather evidence to kill someone? Situ Ming snorted. Although Situ Ming knew Duanling Tian would leave the Situ clan tomorrow, giving him the best opportunity to make a move, he did not dare to make a move because he was worried the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect would take revenge on him. Apart from that, he had also thought about whether he could only kill Duanling Tian and not touch the people around Duanling Tian. However, when he thought about it carefully, it seemed a little unrealistic. Due to this reason, he could only watch as Duanling Tian swaggered out of the Situ clan and the capital. However, he did not dare to make a move. When Duanling Tian and Feng Wudao left the capital of Windfall Nation, there were only the two of them. However, Duanling Tian clearly noticed that Situ Hao had sent a few people to follow them in the dark. He did not reject this. This was because along the way they would more or less encounter some ignorant people. With these people sent by Situ Hao, they did not have to worry about being disturbed. Feng Wudao followed Duanling Tian out. The excitement between his brows could not be concealed at all. This was because he was about to see his daughter whom he had not seen for many years. Feng Qianwu was his only daughter, and she was the apple of his eye. When he found out that Feng Qianwu was safe and sound, his heart that had been in suspense for a few years finally calmed down. When he found out about Feng Qianwu's achievements, he felt heartache and gratified at the same time. Uncle Feng, the Drift Blaze sect is not far away. With my speed, I'll be able to reach it in the afternoon at the earliest. Duanling Tian smiled as he told Feng Wudao. He had also noticed the excitement on Feng Wudao's face. However, he could understand how Feng Wudao felt. Tianwu will definitely be very happy to see you, Uncle Feng. The moment Duanling Tian thought of this, he felt happy for Feng Qianwu as well. When Duanling Tian and Feng Wudao were making their way to the Drift Blaze sect, two people slowly walked out of the side hall of a magnificent palace in the Windfall Nation's capital. The person in the lead was a middle-aged man with a cold expression on his face. The person behind him was an old man. The old man looked very restrained, as though he was worried about something. You're returning to the capital this time because you want to use the promise that the Fourth Imperial Highness made to you back then? The middle-aged man in front suddenly asked nonchalantly. Yes. The old man did not dare to be negligent in front of the middle-aged man. He responded respectfully. You must know that once the Fourth Imperial Highness agrees to your request, you'll have nothing to do with King Qian's estate from now on. The middle-aged man added. I understand. The old man nodded. However, his eyes were still filled with determination. All these years, he had been staying at the southern border of Windfall Nation. His heart had long been as still as water. He had never thought of returning to King Qian's estate that he had worked so hard for in the past. However, during his most desolate period of time, he got to know his second and third brothers. A group of bandits was born from that. All these years, he and his two brothers depended on each other. Although they were not blood brothers, they were better than blood brothers. However, some time ago his third brother was killed. It was obvious the person who killed his third brother was a powerhouse that he could not fight against. The moment he thought of this, he recalled the King Qian's estate that he had worked so hard for in the past and the promise that King Qian, the Fourth Imperial Highness of Windfall Nation's imperial family, had made to him. The reason King Qian made such a promise was because he was lucky enough to come across an opportunity and saved King Qian's life. Chapter 16-18. The old man's gaze turned blurry when he recalled the incident in the past. Previously, when King Qian was out hunting, he was ambushed by an assassin. Since the powerhouses around King Qian had gone to deal with the powerhouses among the assassins, there were not many people around King Qian. As the coachman, he was there as well. At that time, one of the assassins attacked King Qian with his sword. At that moment, he made a timely move and blocked the sword for King Qian, saving King Qian's life. Subsequently, the powerhouses around King Qian killed the other assassins and killed the assassin. At that time, he was heavily injured and on the brink of death. However, due to King Qian's importance, a grade 4 Saint Refinement Master from the Windfall Nation's imperial family saved him from the jaws of death. At that time, King Qian summoned him and made a promise to him. He promised that he would fulfill any request within his capabilities, no matter what it was. At that time, he only thanked King Qian for his kindness. He did not take the promise to heart. Previously, when King Qian was attacked by an assassin, Duan Tian had just recovered from his heavy injuries. Fear rose in his heart because he knew the Fourth Imperial Highness, King Qian, was someone who had ambitions for the throne. He would frequently encounter similar assassinations in the future. As for him, he only had one life left, so he only wanted to protect himself. Under such circumstances, he resigned from King Qian and left the capital of Windfall Nation. He settled down at the southern border of Windfall Nation. In the end, he even formed a bandit gang and led a comfortable life. Before he left, King Qian had told him that the promise he made would always be valid. Initially, he thought he would never have to use that promise. However, it did not cross his mind that his third brother would be killed by a mysterious powerhouse. It was only when he realized he might not be a match for the mysterious powerhouse that he recalled the promise the Fourth Imperial Highness, King Qian, had made to him. Due to this reason, he decided to return to the capital and use the promise King Qian made to him. However, he was unlucky. Although he entered King Qian's estate, he was told that King Qian was in closed-door cultivation. For this reason, he could only wait in the guest room in the side hall. He had waited until today when King Qian finally came out of closed-door cultivation. When he found out he was here, he sent someone to pick him up and summon him. Under the guidance of the middle-aged man, the old man soon arrived at the main hall of King Qian's estate. At the entrance of the main hall, there were 10 armored soldiers standing straight. Their faces were grave and stern, and their gazes were as sharp as blades. They gave off an invisible sense of oppression. "Your Highness, Yi Mu Bai is here." The middle-aged man stood outside the main hall and spoke respectfully. "Mu Bai is here? Bring him in." At the same time, a hearty laughter came from the main hall. The laughter sounded very kind, but the old man, who was also Yi Mu Bai, knew clearly that this was definitely a formidable person. He was polite to him. Although it was because he was grateful for saving his life back then, it was more to show off to his subordinates. After all, King Qian did not want anyone to know that he was an ungrateful person. After walking into the main hall, Yi Mu Bai finally saw the Fourth Imperial Highness, King Qian, again after so many years. However, he noticed that King Qian was no longer the young man he used to be. The current King Qian had the aura of a superior. The strength of the imposing aura brought a certain amount of pressure to him. Yi Mu Bai could not help but sigh inwardly. Time really flies. In just a blink of an eye, so many years had passed. Greetings, Fourth Imperial Highness. After Yi Mu Bai entered, he immediately kneeled down and bowed humbly. "Mu Bai, you're my savior. There's no need for you to be so courteous. Quickly get up." The Fourth Imperial Highness, also known as King Qian, was a middle-aged man dressed in a long golden robe. He had a kind expression on his face, and he had a pair of tiger-like eyes that exuded an awe-inspiring aura. With a raise of his hand, an invisible energy extended out and lifted Yi Mu Bai up. When Yi Mu Bai sensed this energy, he could not help but feel shocked. Even if the Fourth Imperial Highness was not at the saint stage, he was most likely at the imminent saint stage. As someone who had walked out of King Qian's estate, he still had a discerning eye. "Thank you, Fourth Imperial Highness." After Yi Mu Bai was lifted up, he thanked King Qian respectfully. "Mu Bai, I heard you came back this time to ask for my help?" King Qian asked with a smile. "Yes." Yi Mu Bai nodded. "The reason I came back this time is because I need your help. After this matter, I'll definitely not disturb you, Fourth Imperial Highness. Mu Bai, you're too polite. You're my savior. Back then, I've already promised you that I'll do anything within my power. Many years have passed and you still haven't returned. I thought you've forgotten about that promise. It seems like you haven't forgotten about it after all." King Qian still had a smile on his face. "Tell me, what do you want my help with this time?" Fourth Imperial Highness, I want you to help me get rid of a person. Yimu Bai took a deep breath and replied after a long while. King Qian's eyes gleamed before he nodded. As long as I have the ability to help you get rid of him, I won't refuse. Tell me, who is he? Actually, I don't know who he is as well. Yimu Bai smiled wryly. Upon hearing this, King Qian frowned immediately. A hint of displeasure flashed in the depth of his eyes. How dare you? At this moment, the two old men standing behind King Qian and the middle-aged man standing beside Yimu Bai suddenly shouted out loud. Two extremely powerful auras suddenly extended from the two old men's bodies and swept toward Yimu Bai. After a while, Yimu Bai's body began to tremble from the pressure. This powerful aura almost suffocated Yimu Bai. At this moment, Yimu Bai could confirm that these two old men were saint-stage powerhouses. As King Qian raised his hand, the two old men finally withdrew the powerful aura that was emitted from their bodies. Mu Bai, even you don't know who he is. How am I supposed to help you? King Qian asked as he looked at Yimu Bai. The smile on his face had also faded. Fourth Imperial Highness, it's my fault. I didn't finish my sentence in one breath. Although I don't know who he is, I have his portrait in my hand. Moreover, I know he came to the capital some time ago. Yimu Bai, who was secretly wiping away his cold sweat, hastily added. Some time ago? King Qian frowned. In other words, you don't know whether he's still in the capital or not. Yes. Yimu Bai nodded. Soon after, he continued to say, Fourth Imperial Highness, if that person is still in the capital, I'd like you to help me get rid of him because he killed someone very important to me. If he's no longer in the capital, I can only blame myself for being unlucky. I won't trouble you again in the future, Fourth Imperial Highness. One must admit that Yimu Bai's words had the profundity of taking a step back in order to advance. Since that's the case, leave that person's portrait behind. Return to the guest room in the side hall and wait for the good news. This prince will definitely do his best for this matter. Not for anything else but to repay you for saving my life in the past. King Qian said. Yes. After Yimu Bai left the portrait behind, he was led away by the middle-aged man who brought him here. At the same time, King Qian opened the portrait in his hand and saw a handsome young man with dashing eyebrows and bright eyes. Yimu Bai is really getting worse and worse. To think that such a young man actually has to use up the promise I made to him in the past. Naturally, King Qian only said these words in his heart. Fourth Imperial Highness, there's a person outside who claims to be the sect leader of Dark Nether sect. When King Qian put away the portrait in his hand, the voice of the gatekeeper resonated from outside. The sect leader of Dark Nether sect, Yi Feng, requests to see the Fourth Imperial Highness. At the same time, an energetic voice resonated from outside. The voice contained the true origin and entered the main hall in just a blink of an eye. It's a saint-stage powerhouse. At this moment, the two old men behind King Qian looked at each other and nodded before replying to King Qian. Since the voice contained the true origin that only saint-stage powerhouses possessed, they could tell it was a saint-stage powerhouse just by listening to the voice. The sect leader of Dark Nether sect? Why is he here? King Qian raised an eyebrow as he muttered to himself curiously. Then he stood up and walked out of the hall. As he walked, he smiled as he said, It's an honor for sect leader Yi Feng to visit my King Qian's estate. A saint-stage powerhouse was qualified enough for him to personally welcome them. When King Qian walked out of the hall, the two old men behind him followed him out as well. Fourth Imperial Highness. Outside the main hall, the travel-worn Yi Feng bowed at King Qian. A hint of exhaustion could be seen on his face. Sect leader Yi Feng, you're... King Qian was stunned when he saw Yi Feng's wretched appearance. He had met the sect leader of Dark Nether sect once before. However, at that time, the sect leader was in high spirits. This time, however, he looked like a stray dog. It's a long story. Fourth Imperial Highness, let's talk inside. Yi Feng sighed. All right. King Qian nodded and beckoned Yi Feng to enter the main hall. He sat down again and gestured for Yi Feng to sit on the lower seat. Sect leader Yi Feng, you're the sect leader of Dark Nether sect. You're so well regarded. Why are you in such a wretched state? King Qian asked curiously as he looked at Yi Feng. Fourth Imperial Highness, we'll talk about this later. Before that, I'd like to ask you a question. Yi Feng looked at King Qian. What question? King Qian was curious. Fourth Imperial Highness, do you know about the Devil Seal tablet? Yi Feng's expression turned solemn as he looked at King Qian. The Devil Seal tablet. Upon hearing Yi Feng's words, not only King Qian, but even the two old men behind King Qian had a change of expression. Naturally, they were no stranger to the Devil Seal Tablet. Even in the entire Dao Martial Saint land, these three words reverberated like thunder in everyone's ears. Chapter 16-19. Sect Leader Yi Feng, there must be a reason why you suddenly mentioned the Devil Seal Tablet, right? King Qian asked as he looked at Yi Feng with a burning gaze. The Devil Seal Tablet was one of the 10 Super Saint weapons on the 10 Great Saint weapons ranking. Who would not want to obtain it? When he heard Yi Feng mentioning the Devil Seal Tablet, the first thought that appeared in his mind was that Yi Feng knew the whereabouts of the Devil Seal Tablet. In fact, it was not only King Qian who thought so. Even the two old men behind King Qian thought so as well. Indeed, there's a reason why I mentioned the Devil Seal Tablet. Yi Feng nodded. Not only did he not deny it, but he even said bluntly, it's because I know the whereabouts of the Devil Seal Tablet. Boom. The moment Yi Feng's words left his mouth, it was as though a bolt of lightning had struck him. It was like a huge rock had fallen on a calm lake. King Qian and the other two narrowed their eyes as they looked at Yi Feng in unison. Their gazes were as sharp as knives, as though they could slice Yi Feng into countless pieces. Where's the Devil Seal Tablet? King Qian asked. The two old men behind King Qian extended their divine consciousness and locked their auras on Yi Feng immediately. That's what I'm going to say next. Yi Feng was not angered by the two old men's gazes. His expression remained calm as he spoke unhurriedly. Didn't you ask why I'm in such a wretched state earlier, Fourth Imperial Highness? The reason I'm in such a wretched state is because of the person who possesses the Devil Seal Tablet. I'm sure Fourth Imperial Highness knows that I, Yi Feng, am the sect leader of Dark Nether Sect, and I'm also a Saint Stage Devil Cultivator, Yi Feng said. King Qian nodded. King Qian nodded. He had long known that Yi Feng was a Devil Cultivator. However, what he was most curious about was who possessed the Devil Seal Tablet. That person who possesses the Devil Seal Tablet is only an eminent Saint Stage Martial Cultivator. However, because of the Devil Seal Tablet, the Supreme Elders of our Dark Nether Sect died in his hands. If it wasn't for the fact that I escaped in time, perhaps, I would have been killed by the Devil Seal Tablet as well. When Yi Feng reached the end of his sentence, a hint of fear could be seen on his face. If I'm not mistaken, the Supreme Elder of Dark Nether Sect is also a Saint Stage powerhouse, right? King Qian asked. Yes. Yi Feng nodded. The Supreme Elder and I are both Saint Stage Devil Cultivators. It's precisely because we're both Saint Stage Devil Cultivators that we fell into the Devil Seal Tablet's trap. If any one of us is not a Devil Cultivator, we can easily crush that half-step Saint Realm Martial Cultivator. Who is he? King Qian asked with a burning gaze. In his opinion, a mere martial cultivator at the imminent Saint Stage was nothing to worry about. As long as he knew which imminent Saint Stage martial cultivator possessed the Devil Seal Tablet, he would be able to snatch it away immediately. Your Highness, before I tell you who that person is, I hope you can agree to a request of mine and give me a promise. Yi Feng's eyes gleamed as he told King Qian bluntly. Impudent. Upon hearing Yi Feng's words, King Qian frowned. The two old men behind him could not help but shout, Yi Feng, who do you think you are? Do you think you're qualified to negotiate with His Highness the Fourth Prince? You're just a stray dog. Believe it or not, we'll make you stay in King Qian's estate forever. The auras of the two Saint Stage powerhouses behind King Qian became even more powerful. In the end, it was as though dark clouds were pressing down on Yi Feng, pressuring him greatly. However, Yi Feng ignored them. Instead, he stared at King Qian. Your Highness, I know the strength of these two seniors beside you. It'll be easy for them to kill me. However, are you sure you don't want to know where the Devil Seal Tablet is? The two old men's expressions changed drastically. They were about to teach Yi Feng a lesson when King Qian raised his hand to stop them. Sect Leader Yi Feng, tell me your request and promise, King Qian said indifferently as he looked at Yi Feng. King Qian said nonchalantly as he looked at Yi Feng. His tone was emotionless and no one could tell if he was happy or angry. Fourth Imperial Highness, now that the Supreme Elder of my Dark Nether Sect has been killed, I've also fled the sect. Currently, the Dark Nether Sect only exists in name. I'd like to ask for your permission to let me serve you. Yi Feng bowed at King Qian. His tone was filled with humility. Oh, you want to serve me? King Qian smiled. As far as I know, you and your Dark Nether Sect are closely related to the Situ clan. Aren't you betraying the Situ clan by doing this? In other words, you're betraying Situ Ming and the Situ clan. As the Fourth Imperial Highness of the Windfall Nation's imperial family, King Qian, naturally, knew about the Situ clan. Your Highness, as the saying goes, man strives for higher ground while water flows for lower ground. I know very well that even if I tell Situ Ming about the Devil Seal tablet, he might not be able to obtain it. In fact, he might even go for wool and come home shorn. Moreover, compared to you, Situ Ming is nothing. Yi Feng, a saint stage powerhouse, was fawning over King Qian. Man strives for higher ground while water flows for lower ground. Good, very good, very good. Upon hearing Yi Feng's words, King Qian smiled. I agree to your request. However, before you look for me, you should already know that the Situ clan doesn't support me in the competition for the throne of the Windfall Nation's imperial family. If you serve me, you'll become an enemy of the Situ clan. Even if Situ Ming and Situ Hao don't get along well, they're still on the same side. It's difficult for them to change sides. King Qian reminded him in a timely manner. Don't worry, Fourth Imperial Highness. I have a way to split the Situ clan and make Situ Ming's faction support you. Yi Feng said solemnly. King Qian's eyes lit up. Are you serious? If he could obtain the support of Situ Ming's faction in the Situ clan, not only would his strength increase tremendously, but his opponent's strength would also be reduced accordingly. This was, without a doubt, a good thing for him. I don't dare to lie to you, Fourth Imperial Highness, Yi Feng said. King Qian nodded. Good, good. Yi Feng, you're very good. From now on, as long as you serve me well, I won't mistreat you. King Qian said with a smile. Now, tell me what you want. The promise I want isn't difficult for you, Fourth Imperial Highness. In fact, it's just a matter of pushing the boat along with the current. Yi Feng took a deep breath as his eyes gleamed coldly. I hope that after you obtain the Devil Seal tablet, you'll hand over the owner of the Devil Seal tablet to me so that I can personally take his life. This is the promise you want? This time, King Qian was slightly surprised. He did not expect this was all Yi Feng wanted. Yes. Yi Feng nodded. At the same time, he said hatefully, not only did that person kill my Dark Nether Sect's Supreme Elder, but he even forced me to flee the Dark Nether Sect in a wretched state. Currently, the Dark Nether Sect only exists in name. Since he destroyed my sect, I'll take his life. This is just a small matter. I can promise you. King Qian agreed readily. Thank you, Fourth Imperial Highness. Yi Feng quickly expressed his gratitude. Now you should be able to tell me who has the Devil Seal tablet, right? King Qian asked. At once, the two old men behind King Qian stared intently at Yi Feng's face. It was as though they were trying to figure out if Yi Feng was telling the truth from the changes in his expression. Fourth Imperial Highness, I'm sure you've heard of the owner of the Devil Seal tablet. Yi Feng said. I've heard of him? Upon hearing Yi Feng's words, King Qian became even more curious. Who's he? Duan. Ling. Down. Yi Feng gritted his teeth as he spat out word by word in a deep voice. Duan Ling Tian? King Qian raised an eyebrow. I seem to have heard of this name before. Fourth Imperial Highness, the interim advisor of Situ clan, Master Duan, who recently rose to fame, is Duan Ling Tian. At this moment, one of the old men behind King Qian said. Is it him? When King Qian heard this, realization dawned on him. He looked at Yi Feng as though he wanted confirmation. That's right. Yes, it's him. Yi Feng nodded fiercely as he said, that day he was the one who barged into my Dark Nether sect and used the Devil Seal tablet to kill my sect's Supreme Elder. I was lucky enough to escape with my life after that. Yi Feng shuddered when he recalled the scene that day. The moment the Devil Seal tablet's aura locked onto him, he thought he would not be able to escape death. He did not expect the Devil Seal tablet would chase after his Dark Nether sect's Supreme Elder first. During that critical moment, he forcefully circulated the true origin in his body and broke free from the Devil Seal tablet's aura. That was how he managed to survive. Situ clan Duan Ling Tian, the owner of the Devil Seal tablet. No wonder you came to me. As it turns out, it's because the owner of the Devil Seal tablet is from the Situ clan. King Qian said indifferently as his eyes gleamed with wisdom. Although there were not many people in the Windfall Nation's imperial family who were capable of fighting for the throne, there were still many of them. Although he was one of them, he was not the most powerful one. The most powerful one was the second Imperial Highness, who was supported by the Situ clan. However, Yi Feng did not look for his second brother but came to him instead. He knew this must have something to do with the Situ clan. If Yi Feng went to look for his second brother, even if his second brother managed to obtain the Devil Seal tablet, he might not let Yi Feng deal with the interim advisor of Situ clan. To Yi Feng, the Devil Seal tablet was not the most important thing. The most important thing was revenge. He could give Yi Feng a chance to seek revenge. The interim advisor of Situ clan, Duan Lingtian, is it? I want the Devil Seal tablet in your hands. King Qian's lips curled up coldly. However, he was inexplicably excited. It was as though he could already see the scene of him obtaining the Devil Seal tablet. If I can obtain the Devil Seal tablet, the few Saint Stage Devil cultivators under Second Brother's command won't be a problem at all. I'll be able to suppress them with the Devil Seal tablet. The moment King Qian thought of this, he became even more excited. He was so excited that his hand lost balance and threw the portrait left behind by Yi Mu Bai to the ground. It's him? You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.